ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Slightly later start tonight, as is traditional for Fridays, but I hope you are well. Sean Bean SM, good to see you. Sorry, just bear with me one quick second here. I just saw something on Twitter which I want to catch up with. Cool. So we're back to this. Now, I owe somebody a new character, but I did there's a few hamlets. So this is my main one. I actually just lost my A team in this one. This is a special stream that I did, and the Forgotten Estate on week 8 is that's the stream one. So I did actually sort of set myself up with a group. I sort of committed people because I believe I said I wasn't going to be able to have viewers as part of the party before I went to bed last time I played this, but we will do that tonight. If you live for Risk and Darkness, then by all means bring a few torches. It looks like it's taken its time to load up. So, quick recap of what was going on. We did Dirty Rectangles on Wednesday, so there was no Cultist Simulator stream.
Corruption has soaked the soil, sapping all good life from these groves. Let us burn out this evil.
I'm sorry for that, but it is a wonderful opportunity for me to see what local game developers are doing. And they did not disappoint. There was some really cool stuff there. In terms of people who we've got in the party, we've got Dirty Rectangles is a local sort of game development collective. There are some people of various skill levels and talents and charisma and all of these different factors, but it's really cool. There's Hello, Tall Man Alive. Yeah, let me take a quick minute to explain this, because I kind of assume that people know the deal, but I'd like to take a chance to support this where I can, a little bit like one supports other local businesses. So it's good that you did your pre-stream reading of Lovecraft. All right, I'm only going to disappoint at this point. So those of you who are here for the Darkest Dungeon, I apologize. I'm going to filibuster a little bit answering Sean Bean's question, but this will be a chance for you to find out about the people who make your games. So I originally lived in Vancouver, which is where Red Hook is based, but I only really managed to discover the local indie dev scene right just before I left, so I didn't really get a chance to sort of put down the sorts of roots that I would have wanted. There's a lot of really cool companies in Vancouver. Brace Yourselves is based out of there. Red Hook Studios, which made The Darkest Dungeon. Power Up Audio, which seems to have provided the audio for just about every cool indie that's come out recently. Celeste, I believe, got them an award recently. Who else? Jake Burkett of Grey Alien Games used to be in Vancouver. Well, him and his wife. I believe they're in the UK now, though. What else? I know I'm missing some really big ones. Clay, of course, of Don't Starve, Oxygen Not Included, Mark of the Ninja fame. So there's basically, in fact, all across Canada, a lot of very cool game developers. And in Ottawa, the city that I live in, there is a local game dev collective called Dirty Rectangles. And every month there is what's called a show and chill. It's a chance for people who've been working on things to sort of show it off. It'll be things that people have been working on for years, or it'll be things that they just cooked up for that particular month. And like I said, there's all sorts of different skill levels. For instance, there's a developer, Eric Billingsley, who's currently working on a game called Spring and Flow. And you've heard me talk about it before, but that was when it was called Hexagon Falls. I believe he's currently at GDC, but it's a really interesting little hex-based puzzle game. But you may probably recognize his name from Cuphead. And there's actually a few Cuphead alumni. Another example of an Ottawa-based studio would be, I think they're called Steel Crate Games. Anyways, the people who made Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. That was another game from people in Ottawa. And then there's also some smaller ones. Spectrum Break is one you may not have heard of, but I originally found out about that through Dirty Rectangles. And then you'll occasionally see a fellow by the name of Sean LeBlanc, who does these really wonderful little short projects. He's an incredibly charismatic presenter. He almost always has something every month, and he puts on a good show in addition to having a really creative game. He tends to do a lot of work in a game tool called Bitsy. But what's really interesting is he's quite a good web developer, and so he's usually able to sort of hack Bitsy in interesting ways to result in these really interesting kinds of games. And I've shown a couple of the games on the stream. There are definitely ones that are probably a little bit better experienced on your own. But this time he had a really interesting one with, again, some really interesting ideas, and it communicated what was going on inside the character's head in a very unique way. So yeah. And yeah, Sean Bean, I mean, in terms of answering the question of what was the name of the game again, the puzzle game I'm most interested in is called Spring and Flow. It's not out yet, but I do encourage you to check it out because I'm looking forward. Eric was nice enough to show me an early build of it at Dirty Rectangles once, and I had a really good time of it, and it's improved since then. So I hope you like it. We will be getting into the game really quick, but I just want to take a minute to answer Sean Bean's question. But yeah, so you say you're wondering where you got your game dev connections. So not exactly by accident. So for instance, Weather Factory I only ever really got in touch with because I started playing Cultist Simulator on the basis... Johnny Big Time coming in with 1 1/3 of a year, one of my longest subscribers. Thank you so much. He is indeed king of the planet. How the hell are you? Eyes of Sin always reminds me to call you the buttery man crumpet, and so I will. When are you streaming again, Johnny? I am dying to see your content. You're a hell of a man. Thank you very much for your continued support. For those of you who do not know him, Johnny Big Time is, first of all, in this game. Behold the glory. He looks exactly like this, by the way. The only thing that's different is he does not yet have the eye patch because nobody has ever been able to wound him. Johnny Big Time is doing a big move inside of his streaming stuff. I believe it's complete, but I know he's been having a few audio problems in that. I had the wonderful experience of watching a pretty questionable quality version of Terminator 2 with him and the Eyes of Sin, who saw it for the very first time. But beyond being my movie buddy, Johnny Big Time is one of the most entertaining casters I've seen on Twitch. If there's no other reason, check him out, because one day he will play The Darkest Dungeon, and it will be one of the most amazing things that you've seen in your life. He did easily my favorite XCOM playthrough. I am dying to see him play this game. Currently he's doing The Witcher 3. I suspect he'll probably do some Battlefield 5 Firestorm, because he's actually quite good at Battlefield 5, but I think he probably fell out of it in favor of doing other battle royales. So now that Firestorm's coming in I guess 3 days, he'll maybe give that a shot. The guy has got an incredible wit. He's a remarkably nice guy, obviously nice enough to continue subbing to me despite the fact that I can never put on a good show. And he is, he's just, he's got a little bit of everything. He's definitely a lot better at keeping the action going than I am. But that does not mean that he is any less interactive with the audience. He's much better at sort of doing faster action and not keeping things as ponderous as I do. So check him out, please do. He's easily my favorite broadcaster on Twitch. We haven't renamed this Vestal yet. I'm sure somebody will volunteer. But yeah, anyways, to answer Sean Bean's question about how I got my game dev connections, I mean, Weather Factor, I quite literally only found out about them because I played the Horizon Signal through, and I mean, I wouldn't consider them a connection. Like, I exchange silly tweets with them every once in a while, and they are impossibly nice. So I don't want to give the impression that I'm some super connected guy or something like that. But where you do get those sorts of things, it's a little bit like answering the question, where do you find friends? There's really no rule book to doing that. But generally, if you look if you look around, if you look locally, you will find people with common interests. And so one of the big things for me was that I didn't really know that much about Ottawa's game dev community, but I did eventually find out about Dirty Rectangles, and I've known that some of the most enjoyable experiences that I've had streaming are finding new and interesting things. And there's really no science to it. It's just sometimes
Ambushed by foul invention.
Sometimes you just need to take a look at what's on offer, and looking in your backyard's a great place to go. So I guess this is one of the big things. Like, I never kind of went out of my way to
A handsome reward for a task well performed.
I never went out of my way to find, quote unquote, game dev connections or something like that. But obviously, as a broadcaster, because I enjoy this experience of... Okay. Because it's been, seeing these little indies and these interesting games has been a really rewarding experience on the broadcast. Being able to make that individual connection with the people behind the games is itself a really rewarding thing. So hopefully that roughly explained what was going on, Sean B. But yeah, if you are interested in games and monsters with high prot, some monsters have high prot, which absorbs attack damage. Dots ignore prot and are effective means to take down these highly armored opponents. Alright, let's do the Abyssal Artillery. Watcha!
Judge! Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
But yeah, if you do have the kind of interest in
Ringing ears. Ugh. blurred vision. The end approaches.
Stop that. Yeah, I was going to say, if you do have an interest in gaming, I think there's always a reward to checking out what you have locally. It's, you know, I don't really think...
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
I don't think it's really possible to do something like this. Like, if you go in and it's like, okay, I'm going to get connections or something like that, sometimes that will, like, it'll come off like you're trying to get something. But I've definitely, through streaming, gained an interest in how games get made, and it's very rewarding to be able to talk with people who create games, especially people who, you know, don't do it full time, people who do it as a hobby but make things that really mean something to me. And sometimes people are in smaller cities. There may not be a local game development community, but it always helps to look it out. It's been really rewarding to check out that sort of thing. Johnny, you missed. And now you are gonna get punched. But I will save you.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. A momentary abatement. Unnerved, unbalanced. Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Alright, you gotta open the chest of doom now. Who wouldn't be, Johnny? You're the battery man, Crumpet. So the thing I'm dreading is that we've got 2 obstacles coming up, so I'm hoping that this will deal with all of the room battles. Terrible strength. All right. We're gonna do the good old-fashioned sacrificial stab. Johnny thinks guns are cheating. She likes you, but she only likes you for 4 heals. Unfortunate. Alright, so this is the really cool thing about the flagellant. Oops, wrong one. Exsanguinate. Right.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
So big thing to keep in mind here is that he's going to be dead next round, so I want to focus on taking this guy out. In this particular case, I'll do a judgment because this will heal my healer. Hey, Dr. Frankenbinder, I'm glad to see you here. All right, and what we'll do... So it's 33% of max HP. Right, so it heals both myself and someone else. So let's heal up. Now, he's got a debuff on him because he used this recently. But let's heal the healer as well. So, and I could afford to do that because this guy is almost dead. Let's also try... Oof, that's not a...
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
Right. Let's see if we get a torch. You know too much about this game not to be here for you. Actually, Dr. Frankenvader, so yeah, just a quick reminder, guys. I know there was somebody in chat last time I played this who was a Kickstarter backer of this game. And they wanted me to bring in their character, and we ran into a bug. And unfortunately, I can't remember the character. It might have been Captain Shield now that I think of it. But I don't want to... I know I'm going to make a terrible mistake and get it wrong. So if you do have a character in this game as a backer and you want me to bring you in, let me know. I'm just really bad. It's been a couple of weeks since I've streamed this, so I apologize for...
Machinations spring to life.
I apologize for not doing that right. Okay. So my hope here is that this is the last rune battle, because if not, we're going to get a bunch of stress damage from the obstacle. But we'll see. I mean, there's also the possibility we'll find a shovel in a chest, but I don't think I've ever had that happen before. You know, I once played this game, and actually I've got a, this was back when it was still in beta. I've got a video of me where I completely forgot to bring torches one round. Ugh. Alright. Are you wish that I'm involved in this game? You just love it and there's so much about the game you can't not watch it. I'm really glad to hear that. It's a really well done game. The Kickstarter was before my time, unfortunately, so I didn't get a chance to show that support, but I did buy it, so... Oh, I completely forgot to change everyone's positions. Anyways, I might want to do a Rain of Sorrows to bleed out the ectoplasm, but it doesn't do that much damage, so I think instead we're gonna pound the bone rabble and see what we can do through other means. Let's pile on. There we go.
To the pit.
Okay. Judged. So next round, I'm going to use her on the flagellant. Well, I would, except that it's going to take this one out. I could have maybe tried for something like getting the man-at-arms to...
that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
I could have tried to get the man-of-arms to stun the thing out, but again, it's probably a very slim chance, and I think the damage that I could potentially sustain by keeping that up is not worth it. The thing to keep in mind...
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption.
If this guy goes
with misintent.
If this guy goes too low, I can always rely on Flagellant and Redeem. So, all right. Thorny Thicket dispatched. Oh, this will be helpful. Okay, so I'll be missing out on 3 curios, but I won't be getting the stress damage from going past the block, so... Oh, and Casual Nothing, sorry, I thought you were Dr. Frankenbender. Great to see you too. Alright, this one I'm going to be a little... this is a debatable choice, but in this case I'm going to use the Rain of Sorrows on the artillery. This is just to put the bleed on them, and I'm going to try and... Oof! I was going to try and set that up as a combo with the Abyssal Artillery, but that did not work out. So instead, I think we'll just do what damage we can to the bad guys. So the main reason for this is that these guys attempt to mark people in the group. And if they mark them, then these guys do fairly accurate and pretty damaging attacks. So, oof! Light has abandoned us. Alright. Now you've pissed him off. So let's Abyssal Artillery again. So one of these should die to the bleed. Let's see if we can... Yeah, okay, so both of them will die to the bleed, but... oh, no, we don't have anybody marked. In this case, we'll just use Exsanguinate. First time I ever used Exsanguinate,
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
I got a crit, so it was something like 16 damage, and then the guy went up for like basically a full bar of health, and I thought it was the best, absolutely the best skill in the game. Let's wear down the Fungus Crusher. Yeah, I can live with it.
The slow death, unforeseen.
So as you can see, the bleed strategy paid off with these guys. Okay, looks like he's got his buff again, but he won't heal for as much. Okay, how much damage are you doing? 5 per round. That's a pity.
Precision and power.
Well, I'll pile on this guy, so Judgment. And again, low heal because we already used Exsanguinate. But this will be the last fight that we do, and the only thing that persists is stress damage. This has all the DLC in it, but I am absolutely not going to touch.
Creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
I'm not going to touch the Crimson Court until I have a team that's a little bit more prepared. I've never done it before, but the game was pretty clear, saying it's like you might want to reconsider this. So. I forgot to open the...
pestilence will yet be driven from our woods.
Oh well. I should have opened the grave, but... my bad. Hey, Ego Karen, you just finished your run. You did well. Alright. You're now a night owl. Johnny Big Time has developed a love interest. You're also a meditator. Cardon is gothic. Maroard has got night blindness and is a clotter.
A fresh irritant to some. A sanguine memory to me.
The town is abuzz. A crumbling stone entry to a forgotten labyrinthian garden has been uncovered. The discoverer, sadly, has perished from the innumerable insect stings. Concern rises. Stress reduction activities in town are slightly less effective. Dismas underwent effective disease treatment and cured lethargy. We've got an adventurer Vestal, and we already know we've got a bunch of quest goals. Speaking of vampires, I have never played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, but does everybody know the big new Paradox news? Alright, let's go back to town. I wanted to clear this out so that we could do a proper sort by stress. I mean, it's debatable as to whether or not Cardon is really ready for replacement. Not remaking it, but Bloodlines 2 is coming out. Let's see what my options are for recruitment. Oh, now see, Jubert is the one. Jubert's definitely the one that I should make Johnny Big Time, the Hundmaster. There's Tall Man Alive. We got a few people we remember from the stream. Okay, I do think I want to keep all of these individuals. I know Sin really wanted to be a grave robber. We do have a Hellion, so I'm happy about that. The only thing I'd really like is to get a Houndmaster in the team, but Well, how many Vestals do I have? Got. So this is a tricky one because I've got 2 Vestals. I lose nothing. Unless Jamie... No, wait. Jamie Sam is... this is one of the viewers, Jamie Sam. So no, I can't do that. If you do make you as a character, you would prefer a cultist, grave robber, or a plague doctor. Well, Dr. Frankenvinder now seems like a really good time. I've got a free occultist. He's a shocker. He's a Warren's explorer. A gothic, thick-blooded. You hate mankind. I mean, this sounds exactly like you. Do you want your doctor honorific, or would you like to just go as Frankenvinder? Well, Sean Bean, I only know of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines because so many people talk very fondly about it. I own it, but I've never played it. I tried playing Redemption a while ago, and that game has not aged well. Either's up to me. All right, I'm gonna call you Frankenvinder because with an outfit like this, it's in fact implied that you have that you have it. You know, the plague doctor needs to tell someone that they're a doctor, whereas the occultist, you just look at them and they're like, yeah, they got a PhD in something wacky. Do you have a preference for outfit? I did not know that it was coming to console, but that would make sense. Does anybody else, by the way, want to be a character? As long as you... So, Reynold and Dismas are hands-off. I want to keep them because they're the original 2. And you can't take a character that somebody else already has, obviously. But other than that, I'm very happy to give you a character. All right. Yeah, so I can't bring myself to replace Jamie Sam, and I guess this means that I got to bring Frankenvinder for another round, which I'm fine with actually because we could use some more level 2s. If you're asking for volunteers, you'd love to travel to the dungeons on my behalf. Absolutely, Casual Nothing. What kind of character would you like? We've got an Arbalist. We have got another Vestal. We've got a Hellion. We've got a Highwayman. We've got the Shield Breaker. We have the Abomination. We have a Musketeer. Oh, hang on. Do I have more than one Arbalist? Perfect. I no longer have an Arbalist. Out.
Suffer not the lame horse, nor the broken man.
Quick question for you, Johnny Big Time. Do you still want to be the man-at-arms, or do you want to become the Houndmaster? And it looks like Sean Bean would like to become a Musketeer. I will keep in mind that the Musketeer is a milady, but I'm no judgment. It's pretty ambiguous in most of these cases here. So, and I'm going to assume that you'd like to be Sean Bean again. If you have a particular color preference, feel free to speak up. There is indeed a man and a dog, and most importantly, you can pet the dog. If you have a color preference, Sean Bean, just feel free to let me know. We've got the green and gold, black and red, gender fluid Musketeer shot. Oh, of course. I shouldn't have even asked. Of course that's why you picked the Musketeer. For those of you who don't know, Sharp's Rifles, I highly recommend that you check it out if you haven't. Casual Nothing would like the Highwayman, the Arbalist, or the Vestal. Okay, sounds good. I think my Highwayman might already be taken up. Or no, hang on. It's only Dismas. I might have a spare. But sorry, it was oh, there was no character. Oh, sorry, no color. So we've got this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in the meantime, while you're picking, casual nothing. So Highwayman's taken up, but we do have an Arbalist. We do have a Vestal. Whatever color, they all look the same to you. Okay. This one has a bit of blue. You know what? Well, it's a little colorful. Yeah, I'll go for this one. I don't have any of the colors you'd see in Sharp, but I won't backseat you, System Chalk. You cherish people's game experience far too much to do so. But if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. You should be able to answer just about all of them. I appreciate that, Dr. Frankenvinder. I will probably decline. I know that so I've done some of the boss battles. And they're really brutal, and I don't remember them, so I'm very likely going to struggle. But I also know that the Darkest Dungeon, despite the fact that it has this reputation of being a very brutal game, is actually, like, I'm not playing it on the hard mode, so I know that no matter what happens, you all may die, but I can't lose the game. So, but I will absolutely, if ever I do need a backseat, I always let chat inform me before I go online, so 100%. Yeah, Valken to you. I mean, I actually started playing this because I got a coworker into it, and I am having a great time with it. So sorry, Johnny, did you want to become the Hound Master? And yes, you can pet the dog. I can't remember if I said that or not. And who else did we have? Okay, Casual Nothing. It was Highwayman, Arbalist, or Vestal. You know what? My Arbalist is actually a higher level, so... Well, then so is the Vestal, though. But I probably won't bring the Vestal out for a while because I'm going to bring them on the boss fight. So I will make you the Arbalist, and I'm going to go with Casual Nothing unless you'd like a different name. Oh, I do have that second Highwayman. Oh, that's fine. No, we'll switch it out. Let me know if you want a different name. And you have any choice of outfit. Number 1 is gray. Number 2, green and yellow. Number 3, brown and blue. And number 4, sort of blue and brown. And just wanted to throw it out there. You completely understand your declination. Just wanted you to know that I'm here if you need it. You know, honestly, Dr. Frankenvinder, so I realize I come off as being extremely unreasonable about backseating. I am actually 100% okay with people respectfully saying, just so you know, I have this expertise, and if you would like, I have this available to you. Or if people say, would you like a backseat? I will say no, usually, but I appreciate being asked. It's much better than people just simply assuming that I don't know how the game works. So, number 3 with the blue scarf. Very well. All right. And you need to put money on your PayPal so you can continue your sub. Please do not feel the need to do so, Ego Karen. But if you do want to keep using those emotes and show support, I will definitely not stop you. Captain Zerge, if you want, you can praise the sun for me. I'm glad to hear it. We're getting a little full on the list, but I have an Arbalist. I have a Vestal, who may not be going out on a mission for a while. I've got a Hellion. I've got a Shield Breaker. I've got an Abomination. I've got... I'm gonna say that the Houndmaster is reserved for Johnny until he says no. And we've also got a Leper. So if you want to praise the sun, I would suspect the Leper is probably most appropriate for you, Captain Zerge. But if you would like something, if you'd like a different type of character, let me know. Obviously, sun praising takes many different forms, and we are open to all. Do I have anybody else who wants a character? I do want to go back into the dungeon relatively soon, so we'll do that. But I do want to make sure that people get a chance to express themselves in characters, especially when I send them off to their deaths. There's your custom. Oh, that's right, Captain Zerge. You do have your custom character, but I did just fill up the roster. But you know what? Let me just take a look at my doubles. Okay, so Casual Nothing, I made into a highway. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have any doubles. Yeah, these are all main characters. So unfortunately, I am 10 deeds away from boosting the barracks. But you're right, Captain Zerge. You were the one who I forgot. Actually, let's make sure. Is it Shift or Control? What was the bring in character option? Velkin, which would you like? The people I have available are a Leper, an Abomination. It is Abomination, right? Yeah. Leper, Abomination, Shield Breaker, and a Vestal. Oh, and an Arbalist. Enter? Okay. Let's see. Oh, I still have that G error, but I should be able to get that fixed once I have space. I'll quit out of the game. We should be able to get that. You'd like the Leper? I can definitely do that. Well, you know, it occurred to me, Captain Zerge, I don't think I actually reset my resolution after the stream, so that's on me. Oh no, that's fine, Casual Nothing. I actually kind of like Highwaymen, and that Highwayman has got 1 level, so that's a fairly good one for me to pick up. So, okay, yeah, I've sadly, I only have 1 Plague Doctor. Plague Doctor seems to be a really big fan. Sorry, it seems to be a really big crowd favorite. But do you want to go by Valken? Or if you want a different name, let me know. And the color options you've got, this is currently number 2, 3, 4, 1. I actually really like the look of number 4. It's all good, Captain Zerge. Again, I'm pretty sure what you originally said to me was the one in red and gold fits you the best, so that was this one. All right. I think we're all good to go. So, Johnny, I'm going to make an executive decision here, and I'm going to call you... Oh, actually, I don't need to... Hello, Martfork. How are you doing? So, Johnny, if you want to go back to your Man-at-Arms, let me know. But for now, I'm going to make you a Houndmaster. All right. Believe it or not, there is a video game underneath this thing. So let's see if I get some extra levels for people. So, Frankenvinder, we're going to put you into the party. Yeah, you know what? We'll put Ego up. We do need somebody who's able to heal. So the last things that we need to do, let's bring along an Arbalist for range, and Casual Nothing can fill out the group. Now I want to go to the guild to unlock some abilities because I don't quite like some of the defaults. I'm doing quite well. I'm having a great time with Darkest Dungeon. I'm kind of slow at doing things, so we're just starting for the evening. But I'm very happy to have you here, and I'm... Alright, let's say... I'm going to do an Open Vein. I think I'm okay without the Wicked Slice, though. I'm pretty happy with these other ones. Oh, we've unlocked apparently everything here. And Frankenvinder... I mean, these are cool. Particularly Weakening Curse, but we don't really need that right now, so I'm okay with these, and I don't think any of these people, I think you need to be level 2 before you can upgrade these, yeah. So, is this with the DLC? It is, but I should caution, I suppose there's no secret.
In time, you will
no secret because we see the mosquitoes here. Now, I should mention, I've only done one round of the farmstead on my own. Like, I've not done it on stream, and I've never touched the Crimson Court DLC, so that'll all be brand new stuff for me. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to do a trip to the Weald, because we don't have any bosses here yet, and I don't think I'm quite ready to go to the Cove with a veteran level. So yeah, it is with a DLC, but it is not... Oh, hang on. Yeah, the loot doesn't quite do it for me, so we'll go for the wheel. I'm a little uncomfortable with the fact I don't have the most robust healing, but I think we should be able to manage with it. So, haven't played the DLC, but you have played the vanilla game. I've not put too much time into the vanilla game, but I really do enjoy it. It's an exceptionally well done game, and I'm really glad that it sort of got the audience it deserves. We'll do 2 shovels this time. Now, the big question is, do I want to bring Anti-Venom to deal with the fact that I don't have any good healers? And I think the answer is no. We'll go for risk. Beast and corrupted human alike inhabit these failing groves. As promised, I will do my best to have my voice give you relaxation while the ancestor gives you the chills.
Corruption has soaked the soil, sapping all good life from these groves. Let us burn out this evil.
And of course, we already know that I am never going to be able to compete with that, so just want to make sure everybody's skills are where they should be. I am a little tempted to go for a sniper's mark. Yeah, I mean, some of my favorites are the ones that you know. This game has a great tendency to just have that perfect quote at the right moment. Okay, you know what? I don't care if there's a room battle there. We'll walk on the way back. I don't want to blow one of my shovels on that. So that's a... Oh! This is brutal. All right. Let's... Okay, you know, we'll get him back into position too. Just playing on the normal difficulty, Matt Fork, so I guess...
Press disadvantage. Give them no
I don't know if there's any change now for the original game, from the original game, but yeah, I'm not on Stygian mode for sure. Alright, let's see if we can... Oh, that's the worst person who can get a...
The abyss returns even the boldest gaze.
So again, the aim here is to bleed out the high protection guys, but in this particular case, I don't have to worry about people marking the targets. Now, normally I'd like to do a heal at this point, but I really don't want another round where the madman... Well, I do have my Arbalest still, though, so I'm going to risk it. Let's do the reconstruction on the Occultist. So my hope here is that my Arbalest is going to be able to finish off the madman, otherwise I'm in trouble.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them.
Okay, good news.
all.
And again, groping swipe is, I mean, it's no joke, but it's definitely a lot better to go up against than being a marked target. So let's just take a quick look. They're going to take 4 damage around, so this guy's not quite finished. This guy is going to die next turn, though, so in this case, we'll open Bane. So the idea here is I'm going to try and run out the clock so that I can get some more healing, and in this case, we'll heal Dismas. Ooh, nice. Or no, this isn't Dismas, this is Casual Nothing. Ego, do I want to... well, we do have a battlefield bandage. So, I'm gonna blow the turn. Again, these guys will die next round, so I get all of this for free. But in this case, let's heal up
The
the
wounds of war can be healed,
occultist.
but never hidden.
And then this guy goes. So, just a chance to get a little bit...
Foolish horrors, brought low and driven into the mud.
a little bit of a more efficient use of the round. Alright, I feel like grave robbing may not be the healthiest of professions, so who do I want to send to Oblivion? Well, you know what, Ego's just gonna get more pissed off if he gets hurt. He laughs at the light. I suppose I could use my torch, huh? Okay.
As the light gains
Too dark,
purchase,
too dungeon.
spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear. Ancient traps lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for
I
blood.
wonder if I'll get a chance to see what's behind that. No, I will not. But we did make... Oh, so we do. Okay, so we 100% made the right call by not going through there. We wouldn't have gained anything, but we would have lost our 2 shovels. Wow, that's a really good map. Okay, so probably the plan will go room battle with treasure. I think we'll try and run it up to here, and then we can camp. We can camp inside this area, and hopefully we don't get ambushed, of course. The Eyes of Sin, how are you doing? Very happy to see you. You can give me
Handsome
reassurance
reward for a task well performed.
in these dark times. Oh, I didn't need to do that because it's my bad. Oh, that's right. Valkun knows
Waiting to
knows
be spent.
Octavian. Well, Octavian and presumably Sin as well. The darkest of time, the dungeonest of time.
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption.
10 out of 10
Malformed
to
with
Casual
misintent.
Nothing. For those of you who've not... Oh man, that's... so... For those of you who weren't here last week, the whole reason why I did Darkest Dungeon was Wayne June tweeted a recording of William Shatner just mercilessly kind of tormenting this tech that gave him a line read. I didn't bring enough food. I don't know quite what I was thinking. This might actually cause problems when I make camp. But we will...
Executed with
We'll live.
impunity.
But yeah, so Wayne June gave this really funny, just... I want to call it like a snuff film, almost.
Hope blossoms.
Oh, I screwed up because they can't attack the first row. Okay, that's fine. We'll use the bolas to fix that problem. Hello! Welcome again, Dr. Frankenvint.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
But yeah, so as a result of...
Trifling victory. but a victory nonetheless.
As a result of that laugh, I decided to give this little, scrappy indie game a shot, and I figured that they really needed the publicity. But it just so happens I did that recording of the essay. I don't actually have the link right now, but hopefully one of you, if you enjoyed it. Oh, that's right, one of them is Stress Eater too. This could get very bad. Anyways, I've been looking for some more opportunities to record stuff, and A Tale of Two Cities seems like a really good choice.
We require only the strength to follow it.
Okay. Free food in a box. Amazon pantry, please. Probably just tapeworm. Although I could have a Stress Eater too.
Cleansed from our lands.
Oh, that's right. I gotta stop doing that.
Back to the pit.
By the way, I think the Highwayman might have some of my favorite poses for the game. Although the Flagellance is also pretty cool.
Creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Alright, these guys are going to be a bit of a problem, but we shall overcome. Oof! Frankenvinder, you gotta bring your A-game, my friend. In this case, I am going to do the Rolling Sorrows. I just want to get the tick going on them now, and then we can let the Abyssal Artillery do the rest. Okay, for this one, it's pretty. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I just need to pick which of the guys in the back. In this case, I'll take the one who's not bleeding. And same story. They really want you. So as you can see, when it's Rend the Marked, it's more serious business. Okay, so we'll at least get rid of one of these guys. I don't know what you did to piss these guys off, Casual Nothing, but... Oh my god. Alright.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
So I might turn the Arbalist into a healer. Ooh. Ooh, lucky. Alright. It's a tough call. I don't think the pistol shot, yeah. I think we're gonna keep focusing on the Fungal Scratcher. At least until Mark goes away.
Death by inches.
Okay, I don't think I have any stuns, so in this case we're just gonna beat him on the head, but hopefully my comrades get a chance to help him out. Oof! I'm sorry, Casual Nothing. That'll help you for at least one tick. I was really hoping you wouldn't crit there. Bonus to healing. I need to pick something. I may wind up regretting this, but...
Great is the weapon that cuts on its
The
own.
aim here was to try and gain a little bit of tempo to be able to heal up Casual Nothing again, but didn't work.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Okay, so the hope here is that I'll last long enough to be able to camp out. That'll help with the healing, but we may run out of food. Gotta remember to take out the front row before the Arbalest gets to them. So I know we're gonna be safe after we take these guys out. So in this case, I'm gonna go for the attack.
Another one falls. Be gone, fiend.
And we'll do 4 damage. It's got 2 left, so quick heal.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is
And we
taken.
won't take the torch because we'll use the campfire.
Circle in the dark. The battle may yet be won.
So my reasoning here is we'll just use half rations. Obviously, there's no point in taking the HP damage and the stress. And the fact of the matter is that with 3 food, we're going to fail any food roll that we get. Although, obviously, the hope would have been that we could do full for the HP gain. So, what I'm first going to do is make sure that we don't get the nighttime ambush. With my ear to the road, none shall surprise us. And now the rest of this is going to be about healing. Oh,
A momentary abatement.
I don't think anybody else can heal, though. I mean, this is for one companion, so I don't believe this will help the others. So let's say unparalleled finesse, but unfortunately that'll probably cost us the rest of the time. I mean, I could do Lash's anger. Yeah, let's not do that.
The light. The promise of safety.
So, I mean, I think we're still in a reasonably good. I think we're in a reasonably good place. We essentially just need to get through 2 more rooms. The real question is whether or not we're going to get a food proc. Oh, this is. I'm getting lucky with the spiders too. So, do you think that tree needs a hand? An actual, literal hand. Oh, Jesus Christ. So it would have been nice to, get some healing or something like that in, but I think we just need to seal the deal, and as long as I don't get anybody to death's door,
so
I'm
clearly.
going to be pretty happy.
Or is it merely a trick of the light?
Okay, we might get some meat off this. Oop. Cool. Thanks, Ego. I think we're just gonna go all in on the fungal artillery. Oh, that's gonna hurt. I might switch to. All right, so where are we? 3 damage. That's unlucky.
The ground quakes.
I was debating on starting to heal. I was going to start healing the Highwayman right away, but I think I'm going to still focus down the fungal artillery, and then we hope for the best, and then once the back row is decimated, what that'll mean.
Grievous injury.
Oh Jesus!
Palpable fear.
We're not bleeding though, so we should be able to make it. In this case, I'm gonna start. So it's 7 HP. I think. This is worth the risk. So, I would have liked to have done damage to the fungal artillery, but obviously I need to get some kind of a heal in. So that bleed's not great, but we can work with it. And then, so 15% damage modifier or 15% damage modifier with bleed. I think in this case the bleed... Oh no, hang on. I forgot that's only a 2. Alright, that's really unlucky, but...
As life ebbs, terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
So normally I would have tried to take this thing out, but I need to heal this up. Oh, Jesus Christ. This might be it. Okay, good. So the thing is, I knew I wouldn't be able to take either one of those things out, but being able to take out the fungal artillery, these two guys are now going to be dedicated to cleaning these out. These two are going to be healing up Highwayman, so you should be able to survive casualty. All right, 6 damage, so he's gone next time. Jesus Christ! You did something really terrible in a past life, Casual Nothing. I was tempted to try and minimize the damage this thing takes, but I think we need to just put this down. Oh, Frankenvinder. Everybody knows you're a real doctor. I probably should have thought that through a little bit better, because I could have got another heal in, and this thing would have still bled out, but... Alright.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
So unless there's something really, really appalling in that room battle, we should be able to do well. We can even go back and use the shovel. Alright, who's better at traps? I'm guessing the Highwayman, but... Oh yeah. Alright, so as long as we don't get a food hit. I kept forgetting to use my bandage. That was really stupid of me. Oh, okay. Fortune smiles. Or smirks, at least. Huh. Kind of thought I'd be doing more than that. Alright, well, great shot. Oh! Kind of thought we'd have at least one of them killed. It's kind of a moot point at this point, so this would be where I can see if I can get some cheeky heals in, but obviously this is going to be the last encounter, so... Alright, so
This expedition at least promises success.
we don't need bandages, we don't need a shovel. And we'll continue adventuring because I really want to see what's in there. Alright then. Haywall, dear friend, exemplary warrior, a survivor of the King's Wars and many sorties in these halls, met an ignoble end. We were weary, Haywall and I, as we searched for sanctuary. Weariness, it appears, has a murderous streak. It blinded him to the mechanism that tripped the spikes which eviscerated him. I held him as his essence slipped away, another giant fallen in our mad pursuit. I am alone now, weary but unbowed. I press on.
The agents of pestilence will yet be driven from our woods.
I really enjoy your guys' banter when I play this game. Alright. We should have some level 2s out of this. Almost 3, but casual nothing's a little bit behind. Alright, so you've gained the fear of the unholy, but you're also good at exploring the runes, and our Arbalist, who, again, if you guys are not in the roster and you'd like to be, we do have a position open for an Arbalist, along with a couple of other roles, but you will now be bloodthirsty. Upon returning to the hamlet, be sure to check the activity log to see what has transpired in your absence.
Irritant to some, a sanguine memory to me.
And the mosquitoes are still causing us difficulty. Alright, let's get some healing in. So, Ego, medical ward 2. You feel healthier already. Alright, Frankenvinder, what do you like to do? You like to do a little bit of everything. So, you know what? Maybe I'll just leave you to your thoughts. I don't know. Imposter syndrome. You meditate. It seems appropriate for an occultist. Alright. So, as far as levels are concerned, we do have enough people for a run on the Necromancer, but I don't actually have enough level 2s available at the moment. So this will probably be a run for training purposes. I would like to add a Jester if I can, but unfortunately we don't have room. So the question really is, do I want to raise some people from level 0 to level 1, or do I want to try and bring some of these level 1s higher up? Let's see what our options are as far as exploration. Obviously, we won't be doing the courtyard, I think. I'm a little curious. It won't commit me to it. So let's one of these. Oh, cool. No, this question is dangerous and longer than usual. Level 1 or level 2. Okay, cool. So I did not know this was a group. Okay, till I'm alive, might as well heal. Bring up that Vestal. Sin is in really good position where casual nothing is. Well, this is a pretty obvious Soul Train. Nice. Does it get a special name with the oh, the Strays. Yeah, so the real question here, well, this is a primarily... Oh no, we've also got a level 1 here. So I suppose the real question is, do I want to bring a... As far as position 2s are concerned, well, I can make this a level 0 party. So Johnny's going to be good in position 3, Sin's going to be good in position 2. Alternatively, Sean Bean would be a good position 3 as well. This is a self-heal, though. Yeah, let's give this a shot. So again, I won't do the courtyard. Don't really want to do the ruins of the Warrens just because we've already got the bosses here. So let's go back to the Weald. Again, this is just mostly to, you know, get loot, get levels. So, although now that I think, well, hang on, I should probably give the Vestal item to the good Vestal. And just before I embark, let's take a quick peek at people's abilities. Chop and Hew are the two that I really want, but let's say Solemnity just in case. Sin has got Pick to the Face, Flashing Daggers. Only other difference I could think of would be Thrown Daggers, kind of nice. Actually, Poison Dart's pretty cool as well. So we only get one use on this, so, and either I lose the Pick to the Face or the Poison Darts. Got a pretty strong attacker, so Sin's gonna go full range on this. Does your guy have any ability that wins a fight instantly? Unfortunately, no. So Johnny, I don't know if you got to hear, I made an executive decision and set you up as the Houndmaster. I can make you the Man-at-Arms again, but I kind of assumed that you would like the Doge Man. So you have your choice. You can go for blonde hair, brown hair, reddish hair, black hair. This is 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get your choice of color. And again, if anybody here does not have a character and would like one, I'll let you know which ones do not have characters, people in chat associated with them. But red scarf, okay. I just want to double check that there's no other red scarves. Yes, okay. Number 1. Okay. I think Johnny's got the abilities that I want. Yep. And I'm pretty sure Jamie Sam already had the ones that I wanted as well. Judgment would be kind of nice, but... let's see how the... well, I'll unlock it, but I don't think I'll... well... can illuminate or I can judge. I'm a big baby about it. Okay, I'm reasonably satisfied with this group. And again, we'll go to the Weald because I'm a wimp. And then I think we might try a Necromancer. So we've already got a shovel. We'll add a second... no, I don't need to add a second one. This is a short dungeon, so we'll bring 8 food. 8 torches is probably a bit much, but doesn't hurt. And we've also got doggy treats. Actually, you know what? I will bring a second shovel. Each region has its own challenges. Assemble your party and supplies accordingly. So that's more... I'm going to see if that'll do anything for the grave digging, because that one seems to give a lot of disease, which is very expensive.
Once. Now they are as twisted as my own ambitions.
So this one's just about scouting. In this case, I'm going to go for the quick move to the back, just because... well, we're off to a good start.
Ancient traps lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
Still some meat on the bones. Dogs for everyone. Okay, I'm lucky that they got surprised. This means that I can take down the stress generator pretty quickly. Hounds Rush or Hounds Harry? Let's Hounds Rush it.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Okay.
continue the onslaught.
All right, we almost did it.
Destroy.
But we're gonna have to take at least one rapid rush. Dog versus dog. Drat. I was trying to do sort of more minor damage just so I could get a heal in, but in this case we'll do the Divine Grace. Jesus Christ, this thing's good dodge. Alright, dog versus dog.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Okay, then we get a free room. I approve of your dog's performance for sure, Johnny. By the way, I never customize the outfits for the party when I play this on my own. I really like some of the colors. Your dog sniffed out some heirlooms. I like your dog.
The way is lit. The path is clear.
For those of you who don't know,
Only the
Johnny's
strength to follow it.
Johnny Big Time and his dog Johnny Good Boy. Johnny's love of dogs is one of the purest joys that I have on Twitch. It is. I used to like never look out dog content, and whenever I actually go on the internet now to find dog images to share with Johnny Big Time. All right, now that's just heartbreaking. So it's 1 damage per round, and yeah, okay. Then we will judge.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
That's some good poison work there, Sin.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Properly back with spaghetti. I want your dinner, Sin. Welcome back. And you are a very good grave robber. Let's see how good you are at finding heirlooms.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles. Paid for in blood.
I think this is one of the most popular treasure lines. It's a really well-read one. Okay, we're gonna focus down the stress generator as usual. Good dog. Ooh, chimichangas sound good too. Char! Okay, new plan. These things are pretty resistant to everything. So we'll spread the love. Do I hounds Harry? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so take care of the back row. This guy should bleed out, and we can focus fire the big guy. It's hopeful. This guy's pretty resistant to stun, so we will judge him!
The slow death. Unforeseen. Unforgiving. A victory.
That's a sin. Sin's my
Perhaps the
favorite.
turning point.
Okay, all told, that wasn't too bad.
Foolish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
So let's take a look. I think in this case here, I'm going to go to these two rooms first, and then we'll double back. It's maybe not the most efficient use of torches, but it's the one I'm able to live with. The effigy lashes out. Ooh, alright.
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption.
That's not obviously the best choice, because I'm not going to be able to complete this level without going to one of these areas, so there's the danger that there's another blocker here, but I kind of want to see what's at the other end, so...
Packs laden with loot are often low on supplies. The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
So basically the logic behind this was that if I run into something really nasty, I've explored the rest of the dungeon, sort of minimizes the amount of repetition in terms of length. So I'm going to have some torches left over and whatnot. The hope is to be able to explore all the rooms because there might be some loot or something like that there, but basically this gives me the option for an early exit if it comes down to it. Although I suppose if I did all three of these, I might have been able to skip these two. Anyways, I have to live with my decision.
We find victory.
The writing in this game really is very good.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
I don't remember picking this up. The assault was overwhelming. With Cuthbert slain as my boilen fell, I was driven by rage. I leapt and drove my axe into the creature's many eyes. Purple ichor splashed on my face, and my very soul shook as it bellowed. The only thing I can recall after my falling swiftly into blackness.
The light, the promise of safety.
Alright, this seems manageable.
Ah! Diminished.
That's some good dodge in there, Johnny.
Executed with impunity.
So this is just because I know that the spitter's gonna die on its own turn, so we'll get a quick heal in. Alright, let's see what we're up against. So we don't know what's down in this end, but basically it's smooth sailing. I brought way too much food this time around. Oh, that's right, because we found some meat on the carcass. We'll continue adventuring. We're in pretty good shape. Ah, interesting. Okay, so I'll check out the curio. Obviously, I'm not going to do the stress damage to open that up. Can you have a class on your team more than once?
If
Absolutely,
only
you
treasure
can.
could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Okay, journal page. I cannot recall why we ventured onto land. Why did we leave the Mother Ocean provided when Mother Ocean provided all we needed beneath her tender waves. I will now return home, back to her embrace. Indecipherable scratchings fill the remainder of the page. You could indeed do a 4-dog man team. I don't know anybody in this chat who would ever consider such a thing, Johnny.
Roads bring soldiers and
But
supplies. let them arrive unharried.
That is certainly a thing that one can do. Oh, I love that emote so much. Alright. We also got a sly eye patch for the Man-at-Arms. Okay, levels for everyone. Velkun has become musical. Johnny has gained Hylomania. You are obsessed with material things because you are a material girl. And Jamie Sam became a backtracker. No stress penalty when walking backwards.
Trouble yourself not with the cost of this crusade. Its noble end affords you broad tolerance in your choice of means.
When the Jester uses Inspiring Tune, I believe you get a bonus to the stress reduction. Velkun. Alright, the resurrection of our ramshackle hamlet has lured brave artisans and merchants who see potential in the vacant lots surrounding the town square. 1 blueprint awarded. The 4-Dog team has a special name? Okay, I really need to fill up the roster then. District buildings, the hamlet is growing and news of your presence is emboldening craftsmen to return. You may now construct all new buildings. They are expensive, but provide unique bonuses that may help you in your endeavors to cleanse the estate. So I think this was added in the Color of Madness. Let me just read the activity log first. So our Arbalist retired to private dice game in an unknown whereabouts. They have gambled and reduced 62 stress. I believe they're not available next round though. Fragenvinder has meditated and recovered 56 stress. You're here somewhere. Yeah. Ego Karen underwent effective disease treatment and no longer has tapeworm. Okay, district currencies. Most district buildings require blueprints and heirlooms to build. Blueprints that are dropped. Blueprints are dropped when bosses are killed. Color of Madness districts require shards, which are earned in the farmstead. The mill is unique in that it requires memories. Memories are mostly dropped in the Endless Harvest quest by killing the Sleeper. Note, to gain access to all district buildings, you must purchase the Crimson Court DLC and the Color of Madness DLC. The one I like the most is the Red Hook, a monument with no purpose except proclamation of one's dedication. 50,000 gold, 750 crests. Okay. So, really want to start going after some of the bosses. So we can go after the Swine Prince, the Necromancer Apprentice, or the Wizened Hag. I'm kind of feeling like a run on the Necromancer Apprentice. We'll bring our original. I kind of feel like we need a Vestal as well. And I am mildly tempted to bring... I'm actually mildly tempted to bring Johnny Big Time on this one, even though he's a little bit lower level. And that's just because he's, like, we'd essentially have a lot of... we'd have a lot of attack in that back row. Why did you have to get rid of your worm when Johnny's allowed to have a dog? You know what, let's try this. This may end horribly, but that's fine, because it's fun to watch people fail. We'll come prepared for bleeding, just in case.
Mastery over life and death was chief among my early pursuits. I began in humility, but my ambition was limitless. Who could have divined the prophetic import of something as unremarkable as a twitch in the leg of a dead rat? A devil walks these halls. Only the mad or the desperate go in search of him.
So which is it, chat? Are we mad or desperate? So in one sense, I kind of want to just maximize the number of rooms that I check for the Necromancer's Apprentice, but I am a little bit greedy in the sense that I also want to get stuff, so... Oof, Reynold, how dare you. This is unfortunate. Judged! Get him, boy! It's kind of a moot point now, but let's clear out the stress generators.
As the enemy crumbles.
Read my blood!
As the fiend
So it would have been nice,
falls,
obviously, to do
faint hope blossoms.
kind of team heals. Let's pet the dog.
Continue the onslaught.
Okay,
Destroy
I'm pretty happy with how that went. So.
all.
Lots of food. So... I'm not sure how I feel about this path. I think I'm just going to go along the bottom, up, and then like this. Oof.
Even the cold stone seems bent
So-
on preventing passage.
I'm kind of debating if that was the right call, because obviously we had another way of accessing this. We weren't that far in, we could have gone up like this, but we'll see. I have 2 torches, so... Oh, Johnny's stealing stuff. Came from nothing. 2 journal pages. They were sleeping. I am kept from my slumber by a distinct stream of whispers, as if carried by the currents and waves of the sea. I have not told them that most of my flesh has sloughed off, revealing a strange silvery membrane. I keep myself covered. They questioned me when I ate the meat raw at Campfall and found my response difficult to understand. I suppose it would be best to explain my condition when they awaken. Then they would be convinced of my urgency to leave and find aid in the hamlet. And I will return with Cuthbert's banner and Boylan's crossbow so as to honor them with a proper burial. I will leave what is left of the thrice-damned Mizir and his trinkets to the swine folk. Perhaps they will build him the memorial he rightly deserves. Oof, this will be character building. Who's got the weakest? Okay, this is going to be a tough one. So do I want to do focus damage or do I want to spread it around? Let's do one of these. They really want to stress you out, Johnny.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
This is only 1 damage, but I'm going to do spread damage next, so let's deal with the other Arbalist. Get him! Let's take advantage of healing. There should be a move called Pet the Doge to relieve stress. If that does not exist, the game missed an opportunity. I actually think there might be a stress-reducing ability. It'll take a minute. So target whistle, guard dog, and blackjack. Well, it's cry havoc. I'll maybe try that later. When lives don't hang in the balance.
At least promises success. Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
Well, okay, here's an easy fix. It's another journal page. Sebastian's watch was his last. We were jolted during our evening's repast, the best we could make in these murky halls of our once great house. From the roar and flash of black powder, we dropped our bowls and hurried to him. All we could find was his spent pistol and a trail of blood leading into a maze of shadows. We pressed on. Yeah, it's something like, it's not like, God, I can't remember the exact name, but it's something companion or whatever.
The match is struck.
I could probably drop the dog treats, but I keep forgetting to use them, so I'll at least get some utility out of them.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Actually, I have a key to use this time.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and
Okay,
purpose is made clear.
I'm not crazy about the Arbalest, but we should be able to do something about the Acolyte before they do too much damage. What next? I think we'll take care of the back row. In this case, we'll just do some good old-fashioned regular damage. Ouch. Do want to do some bleed on the human if I can, so I'll let I think I'll let Johnny get some heat. Oof, that may not turn out well for me. I think I will change it to Hound's Rush. I was originally gonna do some healing here, but I kind of I want to minimize the people who are doing damage. Let's get rid of the defender, and then if I can, I'll stun lock this guy. Well, I can't lock, but I'll at least try and stun this guy into some healing opportunities. This may not work. Okay, well, he's already taken his action, so we're good there. Oh, I already... Okay, good luck. So, in that case, we'll take the opportunity to get some extra healing done.
The flesh is knit.
That's also really good because Johnny's particularly high on stress. Well, see, he's got so little health, I can try the stunning blow again. It'll probably kill him one way or the other, and he does have the stun resist. Yeah. Doesn't hurt to try and get lucky.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Oh, do I not have keys anymore? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no surprises there. I'm curious if this will give us any indication on the Necromancer. It did not.
A handsome reward for a task well performed.
So we are going to have a couple of battles coming up, but I think we should be in reasonably good shape. As he says as he misses. In this case, I want to focus down the... Oof! I wanted to focus this guy down, but... Okay, well, fortunately, everybody's missing. Are you kidding? The pet's doing the Lord's work, Isaacson. Or are you suggesting that this place is maybe better for grave robbers? Because it's hard to argue with that logic. Okay, I'm gonna be a little foolish and see if I can get a sneaky heal in. Yeah, so it's a net loss in health. Let's not get clever. I was gonna try the stun thing again, but honestly, it's better to just stop.
Triumphant pride
Stop the losses.
a dizzying fall.
I think I'm okay losing the holy water.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
These guys aren't really good at aiming. We're looking at the damage, only one, so this probably won't work well for me. Of course they're focusing on John. Alright, I gotta turn this into a chance to heal soon. I would like to take a few more pieces off the board, but I think I can get away with a Hound's Harry to get rid of some people. This guy's got 4 left, so I don't think the Grape Shot's gonna do what I need it to, but... I also need to start using my bandages. I think again I'll stop trying to be clever. Well, looks like I don't get an option. I was going to try and take both out, but in this case we'll just do the old-fashioned healing. We'll focus, I want to focus on the Arbalest if I can, because I seem to feel like they do an inordinate amount of damage. Okay, decision time. I can probably clear out... Yeah, I think I'm going to do a Hound's Harry. So with any luck, we'll be able to stun this guy. Oop.
Exposed to a killing blow.
Not great! Okay. This is going to be a little complicated to fix.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Johnny, you're probably gonna get hurt. I did that to free up inventory space. Alright, well... it's really tempting to go for the treasure, but...
A spark without kindling is a goal without hope.
Okay, so the last thing I want to have happen is an ambush in the middle of the night. So, one of these. So, yes, it is called Therapy Dog. All companions minus 10 stress. First thing I want to do, though, is heal up. Are you kidding me? Nobody else has healing except the person who needs to be healed. Physician, heal thyself. Okay, that's not so good. Let's go for buffs then. So, make you good at fighting. Let's do... See, this is the funny thing. We don't really need the therapy dog, but man's best friend will work. And we can encourage.
The light, the promise of safety.
With my luck, we're gonna get like a the party's hungry alert. Cool. I believe when it says one companion, it means that it has to heal someone else. Alright, let's see if I can kill a necromancer with this.
Fierce, terrible.
Oh, he's got a bigger blog. This is gonna be bad. Alright, well, that was an exciting start. Let's start putting the... I'm going to start doing the ticking damage as much as possible to the Necromancer Apprentice. And we're going to try and keep everyone alive.
Be healed, but never hidden. Another one falls.
So again, this is just trying to pile up as much damage as I possibly can on this guy. Yes, please do more damage to the back row. Oh, god damn it, I need to keep remembering to use the dog treats. That's fine. Okay, definitely focus.
The wounds of war can be healed, but never hidden.
I know there's a heal for the Crusader, which I forgot to equip, but... Ooh, that was
Singular
beautiful.
strike.
Oh wait, this is a serious moment, everyone shut up. Alright, dog treat it is. Holy crap! So 9 damage per round, we should be okay. We are not okay. Oh, not Dismas. Anyone but Dismas.
Terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
Oh, this is gonna get bad. Okay, not as bad as I thought. It's bad again!
Perched at the very precipice of oblivion.
No!
Feeding the evil therein. With no living sinew to actuate them, will these these walking bones finally fail? Success so clearly in view.
Have another dog treat.
Or is it merely a trick of the light?
You know what? We can have all of it and just bring. All right. Well, we got space for another Crusader. Let's return to the Hamlet. That was Reynold, the original Crusader we brought in. There's an achievement if Reynold and Dismas survive to the Darkest Dungeon. Yeah, I'm gonna have to close out the game, so I can bring Captain Zerge in, but now that which is what is it? That which is not dead may die. Anyways, so Dismas got the Black Plague, and we've got an Eldritch Hater. Actually, I really love this idea. So the Necromancer taking his dear friend Reynold, turning him into an Eldritch Hater. And Johnny has gained quick reflexes.
A fresh irritant to some. A sanguine memory to me.
Okay, so I believe the instruction was this. I'm just going to take a minute here to turn off the Darkest Dungeon on the screen. Graphics. Switch it to full screen, save, exit to desktop. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, okay, so cloud save is just taking its time. What I'm doing here, Captain Zerge did some searching online for me, and apparently the problem with all the G's showing up for the Kickstarter backers can be solved by switching to full screen mode. Now, my primary monitor is starting to die now, or it seems like it is, so I've decided to pick up a new monitor. That'll take a while though, and one of the things I'm going to do is make sure it's a proper 16:9, because what I have is a 16:10, which means that I play most of my games in windowed mode. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to make sure that the problem is fixed.
We dug for months, years, an eternity. And we were rewarded with madness.
Okay, things are looking up. Oh, crap. Sorry, I forgot to change the resolution. My bad. Gotta wait for the cloud save again. This stream is brought to you by the Epic Games Store. Have you wanted to buy games? Do you want to play Metro Exodus or The Division 2? Use the creator code SystemChalk, and I will get a portion of the sales. Although, in honesty, if you do want to pick up a free game, Oxenfree is currently for free on the Epic Games Store. And while I don't believe I get any money for it, you can credit the sale to me, or credit me with driving traffic to the site by using creator tag SystemChalk. And obviously, if you do wind up buying a game, I do get some revenue for that. But one of the big things
you answered the letter. Now, like me, you are a part of this place.
I don't quite get the gaming sort of outrage around the Epic Store. Like, I sort of kind of understand this whole I don't like exclusives, but nobody's boycotting Sekiro Shadows Die Twice over the fact that From made Bloodborne a PlayStation exclusive. There's already a market imbalance. Steam is the one to beat. Nobody really complained about the Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales, being a GOG exclusive until it didn't sell, and then it was not a GOG exclusive. But the big thing for me is that, unless you well and truly just simply refuse under any circumstances to put the
All
Epic
my
Store
life
on your...
I could feel an insistent gnawing in the back of my mind. It was a yearning, a thirst for discovery that could be neither numbed nor sated.
If you unless you just categorically refuse to put that client on, the big thing to remember is that Fortnite money is going to be buying us a huge amount of consumer surplus. They yoinked another game. They yoinked a lot of games. I mean, I was talking about Brace Yourself games. Industries of Titan is going to be another platform exclusive for a year. Then there's a bunch of games which used to just be console only, which are coming to PC, but those are going to be Epic exclusives. I backed Phoenix Point. That's going to be an Epic exclusive. They're loaded for bear on this one. And I mean, as far as the economics are concerned about it, they don't want to be an Also Ran. They don't want to be Humble. They don't want to be GOG. They want to be on the same level as Steam. I don't think it's costless to have another launcher. I completely appreciate that there is something about going to the familiar launcher of Steam, and the fact of the matter is Steam has a lot of good features that I don't think get enough credit. The workshop is a really big one, which is really helpful. But the point that I want to make about the Epic Store, and this is one of the reasons why I joined that partner program, that space-themed Fallout type game, that's right, Obsidian's new game. And then I think they actually might also have the new Rebel Galaxy game as well, which is from CD Projekt Red. They own GOG, so that makes sense. Yeah, it's true, but I mean, the big thing is that CD Projekt Red said, they weren't going to make... they kind of got on their high horse about not making Cyberpunk 2077 a platform exclusive, but it's you guys did try a platform exclusive, and your platform wasn't big enough to sustain it. And I mean, obviously Dota 2 is going to be a Valve exclusive and such. And I mean, this is how Steam's origins were, right? If you wanted to play Half-Life 2, you had to install Steam. There was no two ways about it. Casual Nothing, thank you very much for that subscription, especially as I'm ranting about Epic Games. But yeah, the biggest thing is that I'm not going to I can't tell people, you should or you shouldn't. The fact of the matter is that there's already an imperfect market because Valve is Steam is the only game in town. And the way that Epic is going to dislodge them is by... is through things like platform exclusives. They are essentially using the tactics that Valve did to establish the Steam store. But unless you just simply refuse to put in the Epic Store, one of the reasons why I joined this particular partner program is that there is going to be a lot of money that people get from Epic trying to establish the store. I can't say for sure who's going to win the store wars, but the thing is that we're going to get a free game every 2 weeks as long as Epic wants to pay to convince us to go in. Game developers are going to be getting some serious money to have these platform exclusives on the Epic Store. Epic just announced $100 million in terms of grants to develop games, and it's no strings attached. You do not need to be an Epic Store exclusive in order to get that grant money. So the way that I'm sort of looking at this is that it's a little bit like things like Uber and MoviePass. They're not really money-making businesses right now. MoviePass will never be money-making. Uber maybe one day might be profitable. But the fact of the matter is that as consumers, I am enjoying some very cheap rides when it's late at night. And MoviePass subscribers, when they had it, they would get an incredibly good deal on movies. And in the end, it's basically a bunch of venture capitalists who are getting soaked for it. So to my view, whether you credit me or not on the store, I think that if Epic wants to spend a lot of money to try and convince you about their storefront, at least in my own view, I'm really happy to take their money. And in my particular case, that also includes taking the money for basically games being sold through influencers like myself. But like I said, I do know that some people just for some reason feel very strongly about the Epic Store and the exclusivity. I would be willing to take the other side of that argument, but maybe now isn't the best time. Maybe I'll leave it for a blog or something like that. But seeing as I gave the tongue-in-cheek on the Epic Store thing, I figured I would close that thought. Just wish Valve would finally make Half-Life 3 and make it an Epic Store exclusive. Press this advantage to them, give him 20 quarters. That's actually a really good line. Thank you again for that subscription, Casual Nothing. They still owe you free game. Yeah, did you ever hear back from Ubisoft on this, Johnny Big Time? So yeah, one thing that should be kept in mind, I would love it if I could say that, this is the perfect store and you should all use it. Johnny Big Time did a really nice thing and bought a copy of The Division for me. Or, well, not for me, but bought it on my, on the demo stream that I did of that. And he's actually having some trouble getting the free game that he was promised as part of it. So there are some teething troubles. Like, this is the thing. Like, the Epic Store is definitely a new store and it acts like it. But I also kind of think that my general feeling is, if you take a look at how Epic has done stuff in the past, I suspect that they are in this for the long haul. Whether or not they unseat Valve is another question. But I think the platform will be built out and will be it'll be something equivalent to Steam probably within a year or two, I'd say. Okay. I'm all for the Epic Store. It's an alternative to Steam that isn't from EA. Yeah, I mean, I like EA. I actually think Origin is a pretty decent platform, except for the matchmaking on Anthem leaves something to be desired. But I mean, I'm a member of the Origin Access program, and I've been able to play stuff like This Is the Police, which I never would have touched before. And people will give me recommendations for these interesting indies all the time, and Origin Access, even just like the $5 version, just gave me this huge flood of stuff to try out. And then through the EA Originals program, you've got a bunch of really interesting games. Like, I'd love to do a co-cast with Johnny for A Way Out, for instance, and Sea of Solitude looks really good. And in this case, I actually found out that the terms, like, EA basically doesn't make money on the EA Originals program. Like, apparently the lion's share of revenues from that go towards the developers, which impressed me quite a bit, because I think that they're making interesting games out of it. And they're very highly polished indie games, and I think it's very similar to what happened in film with like Fox Searchlight and Warner Independent and all of that. So, and then Ubisoft has an equivalent with games like Valiant Hearts and whatnot. So, all right, Captain Zerge, is it underscore? Or is it this? Hero found. Here we go.
A mighty sword arm anchored by holy purpose. A zealous warrior.
Enlightened. Handsome man alert. No changes to the outfit. No changes to the name. 10 out of 10. Praise the sun. Yeah, well, this is the funny thing, Matt Forg. Like, I've actually written an article called "Your EA Takes Suck," not yours specifically, obviously. It's really interesting the way gamers talk about EA and how like, so when I wrote that article, the intention was to try and, so like it's pretty clear that there's a lot of hyperbole about that company. So what I tried to do was to say, it's like, okay, so where are people on the right track on criticizing EA, and where are they overstating the case, or like, basically I was trying to find like the empirical evidence to back up some of the criticisms. And the problem is that when I did that, I could not make a single measure that was like not a made up one, where EA did poorly. The other two US companies that were comparable for that one were Take-Two and Activision Blizzard. And this is of course before Activision had its whole, it's the recent troubles, let's say. So yeah, it's just one of these ones where, you know, when I do empirical work, like I want to be honest about it. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to change the argument to, you know, to sort of, to kind of reinforce some prior that I had. But people certainly let me know what they thought of the conclusions. So, what metrics did I use? Well, I can bring it up, but basically, so the big idea here was, so the one that I always get a lot of criticism from people on is the sales, but the basic argument that I made here is that everybody, quote unquote, knows that EA is a terrible company. And they're not robbing banks, and they're not forcing people to buy their games. In fact, if anything, they are, they're like, they have the most favorable return policies. They had returns before Steam did. So in terms of profitability, over the previous 5 years, EA was the most profitable company. On the other hand, probably the better metric would be revenue per dollar spent. So in this case, for every dollar that EA spends, it makes a certain amount back. And this is a rough proxy for how good they are at what they do. And of course, what they do is they make video games. So essentially, when EA spends $1 making a game, they get $4.03 back as of the last fiscal year, compared to $2.81 for Activision Blizzard and $2 for Take-Two. And they were the top in terms of revenue per dollar spent for every year except for the last 5 years except for 2014. So 4 out of 5 years. But then you say, it's like, okay, well, sales aren't everything. So then you say, okay, well, or maybe, you know, you say EA spends too much money on marketing and they're not actually spending the money on games. So I then took marketing administration per dollar spent, and I said, it's like, okay, so what's the company that is spending the most on things that people don't normally associate with games? And for most of those years, EA was for all of the years, EA was the lowest or the second lowest. I'd say Take-Two was probably the lowest in most, but EA and Take-Two kind of compete against each other for the lowest spend on marketing and administration. So like running the company and selling the games, but not necessarily things that you would see on the screen. And Activision Blizzard, again, had the highest amount spent. You can also invert that measure and just say, I made a measure called on-screen costs per dollar. So out of each dollar spent, how much is being spent on things that are actually going into the game? And again, EA spent the most on, for each dollar spent, EA spent the most on each game that they made in every year except for 2014. So then you can say, okay, well, what about quality? Because everybody knows that EA is a company that like abuses its employees and closes down studios and stuff like that, right? So in this case, I turned to Glassdoor and I said, well, if there really is this case of EA's just gobbling up every studio in sight, and they're closing them down, obviously that's going to be reflected in worker morale, or they're not going to be able to sort of, you know, retain talent or whatever. So when I take a look at Glassdoor, the three companies, Activision Blizzard rating 3.8, EA 3.8, Take-Two 4, Activision Blizzard has 130 reviews, Take-Two has 56 reviews, and EA has 1,900 reviews. So in this case, essentially a statistical tie. Another one that you could do is to say, well, maybe you shouldn't use the company-wide measure. Maybe you should use a specific studio. EA was the only one that had a perfect 5. So in this case, I sandbagged the measures against them. And then you say, okay, well, what about the games themselves? Because obviously that's the thing that we care the most about. Amongst those 5 years, EA so their average over the 5-year period, of the 5-year period from 2018 to 2014, they had the highest Metacritic score in a single year, 79.7. They were last in only one period, and they became last by 0.1 point. So again, it's effectively a statistical tie. Activision Blizzard's 5-year average never was above 70, so they were the clear laggard in terms of quality as measured by Metacritic. And then I kind of went back to the sales figures. So it's like, which of the publishers have the highest number of franchises that have sold at least 100 million copies? Because again, you can kind of claim in one period in isolation, you might be able to pull the wool over somebody's eyes and sell them something that they don't like. If you are able to successfully do this year over year, it probably means that people like what you're selling. So EA has the largest number of franchises that have sold 100 million copies, also 50 million copies, 20 million copies, 10 million copies, 5 million copies, and that's also when I include Activision Blizzard's famous release of the Barbie games. So the big thing on this one is that this is a pretty comprehensive battery of tests, right? It's not just the amount of money that they're making, but it's, how much are they spending on games? What do the people who are working there think of the company? What is the critical consensus around the games that they're making? And in each of them, I just couldn't find a measure that would make EA bad. Obviously, if people just have a personal dislike of the company, I can't argue with that, because that's personal taste. I have no comments that I can make on personal taste. But it was a really interesting experience that even when I tried to bias the measures against them by using that, cost per dollar, nobody I know of uses the fraction of how much money they spend on making the game. That is a metric that I made up. And even then, EA wound up being the top one, so... All those well-selling copies are probably FIFA. But that's just it. FIFA's still a video game. If we want to say, who's the best at making niche games that people want to buy, honestly, Grey Alien Games is probably pretty high ranking in terms of the amount of time that they put into a game and selling it. Spooky Bonus is a ridiculously profitable game for the amount of time that they put into it. But I don't think most people want to play Match 3 in this chat. So... I don't really like saying, well, because it's a sports game and I wouldn't want to play it. It's not selling the most. And again, it's franchises, right? So Need for Speed's inside of that. FIFA's inside of that. But it's not. These other companies definitely had an option to do sports game. Take-Two definitely has their sports franchises. I mean, they're the ones who do the wrestling games. But yeah, that's the big thing too, right? In terms of Metacritic, I don't think people care so much about the critical consensus of all of a publisher's game. They want to play, Activision Blizzard may be the lowest ranking out of all of those, but if you really like Overwatch is rated much better than the total of Activision Blizzard's output. So. It's a tricky one to do, because in my case, if I want to do an empirical analysis of this, I can't sit down and say sports games don't count as games, because that's specifically creating a measure that it's designed to exclude EA, because the big thing is that the money for those sports games go and pay for things that we do enjoy, like Mass Effect. Maybe less so for Andromeda, but Andromeda was profitable. But on the other hand, right, if you say, well, I just really don't like those games that much. Like for me, what kinds of games do I like? I like strategy games. You know, Take-Two has Firaxis. I really like XCOM. I really like Civilization. So obviously Take-Two should be my favorite publisher in that regard. But I also like Battlefield. So, anyways, I didn't mean to go so long on that. But hopefully that was illuminating in terms of that article. Let's... Captain Zerge's eager. Let's go to the Cove. And I'll use it as an opportunity to bring some of my level 1s up. I don't know why I didn't de-stress some of these good people, but it's a short one, so we should be in good shape. Make Sin the position 2. Johnny's gonna possibly go a little stir crazy. The only thing I'm less certain about is I know the Cove doesn't have as much for bleed, so let's maybe bring along Tall Man Alive. The Strays. Did you see Jason Schreier's tweet about how EA approached BioWare about making a game with their own version of the FIFA Ultimate Team? No, I didn't see that. I'll have to. I don't quite know what you mean by that, by the way. And Ego Karen, I'm sorry, you probably are already gone. I don't know if I said goodbye to you. I'm losing it a little bit, but have a wonderful night. Sports games are games, so sports games are games that cancel each other out. That's how you justify it. Yeah, well, and I mean, this is the point, right? Like, if people's complaints against EA might if they're not reducible to numbers, I am inclined to agree, because I think the majority of complaints about EA just boil down to mafeels, and that's okay in a way, right? I have no intention whatsoever of telling people how they should feel about anything. If you just straight up don't like someone, if you just straight up don't like someone, you know, I'm not going to be able to come up with a logical argument for why you really should like them, you know, appreciate their humanity and whatever. Like, you know, it's clearly, that's clearly nonsense. But you know, I mean, I'm an economist, right? So my day-to-day is trying to come up with measures and to see how well I can, you know, to see how well I can confront a everybody knows kind of question with data, and at least as far as the sorts of functions that we expect a game company to be good at, namely making games that people want to buy, you know, keeping people employed, you know, job satisfaction, critical consensus. It's definitely not the worst company by any of those standard measures. Oh, I mean, I think microtransactions should work well with data. I mean, in the end, they're a product that people are buying, right? You should be able to identify whether or not people are buying that. Like, if people don't like microtransactions, then they wouldn't purchase them. I mean, I also have my own views on microtransactions as well, and basically whether or not, like, basically what their role is inside of gaming and that. But again, like, again, it's totally fine for people to not like microtransactions. I mean, for instance, you know, I like playing The Darkest Dungeon, and I have the game and I have the DLC, and it doesn't ask me for these incremental purchases partway through. But, you know, it's also not a game that has had, you know, very substantial investment and time and effort to sort of give this, you know, more human than human engine and all the bells and whistles that kind of come with a modern AAA title. So They want games that have monetization roadmap outside the initial purchase, so the next Dragon Age will be a live service game, etc. It won't be a self-contained story-based game like Mass Effect from now on. Well, I mean, you can never say never, right? Like, but I'm more inclined to agree that that probably what will be happening is games which are supported again through live service, basically things that have sort of this longer tail. You can see it with Battlefield, you can see it with Anthem. And the big thing is that, like, the thing that's nice about it is I think they probably would prefer it if you just bought a subscription, and that's not a bad thing in my view, because think of it this way, right? Like, in ye old days, when you bought a box, if you bought Battlefield 5 and you thought it sucked, like, chances are there's not going to be any other update for it, or if there is going to be a major update, it's going to come in the form of an expansion pack that you need to pay for. Whereas we're getting a whole Battle Royale mode, which is added to Battlefield 5 now. And incidentally, the game's on sale, so if you were waiting to spend less on it, you can now. And you get the bigger version of the game than what it was at release. The thing is, if you don't like Battlefield 5, you've got Anthem to play. And if you don't like Anthem, well, you can play FIFA. If you don't like FIFA, then you can play, The Sims 4, but that's available on the lower version. But the thing is that over time, or Battlefront 2 or whatever, and if you hate all of those games, well, you're probably not going to buy the subscription anyway. But of course, over time, they're going to make more and more games. And what's nice about this one is for what is a little bit more than the price of buying one of those games on their own, you're effectively unlocking, the next Dragon Age or any of your favorites out of the old Origin library. And so I think as far as a consumer move is concerned, it's a pretty decent one, because if a major new release really is a flop, you have plenty of other options available to you. Like, I happen to like Battlefield 5, so I'm going to be spending more time inside of that. But if you didn't like Battlefield 5, as long as you have at least one other premium game in the bundle, and again, keeping in mind that things like Sea of Solitude and A Way Out and all of that are available as well as the AAA offerings. I don't know, it's really hard to say that something that costs as much as buying that game on its own, giving you access to all of the top tier stuff that they offer. It's really hard for me to say that that's anything other than good for the consumer. You don't get the attraction. I actually don't care that much for attraction to battle. I don't care that much for Battle Royale either myself, Captain Zerge, but I am intrigued by... I am actually intrigued by Apex Legends and Battlefield. And I think one of the things about those is that I know some people have talked about the design of Fortnite and how it doesn't have matchmaking, because essentially it's kind of, they just want to put people into the game and get them to buy the microtransactions. And of course, because these games have already been paid for, sure, they want you to buy like the skins and stuff like that. But it's a bit of a different business model than some of the other more free-to-play ones. So that might be why. Although, Apex Legends is free-to-play, so that should probably apply more to Firestorm. But the big thing is, it's hard for me to say, even though I personally don't care for the genre, or at least I haven't found something that's really attracted me to it yet, it's clearly something that people want to play, so...
These salt-soaked caverns are teeming with...
What if you don't like multiplayer? Well, so A Way Out's...
be flushed out.
A Way Out's not a good example, but the Unravel 2 was an Origin Premier thing. Sea of Solitude's going to be a new Origin Premier thing. I happen to really like Need for Speed, but that's pretty idiosyncratic, right? I would suggest if you don't like multiplayer, then probably the top tier of gaming is no longer for you. And incidentally, I think that's completely fine, because I don't think the top tier of gaming is for me either. I think the type of game that is sort of the big AAA style game now is something very different from what we used to associate with that. And that's totally fine, because I have so many more interesting games to play. I have Darkest Dungeon and Cultist Simulator, and I have... it's not completely, gone. Obviously, XCOM and Civilization work well as standalone games. I happen to enjoy the single-player campaign for Battlefield 5, but obviously you wouldn't want to pay full price for that. But, it's sort of hard to say that the top tier, with maybe the exception of like very specialized studios like Naughty Dog, it's really hard to say that a lot of people are focusing on single player. And I think part of that is just because they're a really difficult type of game to do, and you need to have a very specific type of studio to put it together. So. Mojo Storm says, hey everyone, you recently found your YouTube channel through your new interest in Cultist Simulator. Always great news to hear. I'm sorry you're having to listen to me monologue so much, but you're currently making your way through Roland's Adventures, but you noticed you were streaming, so you thought you'd stop by and say hello, seeing that you're playing Darkest Dungeon, though you might hang around. Though that's awesome, Mojo Storm. I will actually get back to playing Darkest Dungeon then. I am delighted beyond words to hear that you're watching Cultist Simulator. There will actually be a follow-up to Roland's Adventures as well, so once you finish the Dancer DLC, I hope you get a chance to see Mary Doggerel, the follow-up to Roland's Adventures. Weather Factory have been ridiculously generous to me. The beginning of Roland's Adventures are the Steam stream we did on their, basically on their Steam page. And Cultist Simulator has been a really big source of sort of viewership for my channel. I'm obviously not that big on YouTube. I'm not even that big on Twitch. But I will absolutely confess, it's been a tremendously enjoyable experience to have people come in and say, hey, I discovered you through Cultist Simulator, because Alexis and Lottie are two incredibly nice people. I am so happy that they have found success with that, and 2 BAFTA nominations to boot. Incidentally, Alexis just gave a talk at GDC. If you go to Lottie's at Tron Bevan on Twitter, you'll see her summary of the talk. So if you're a super fan for Cultist Simulator, that's
Another
definitely
mariner,
something.
another misfortune.
It's definitely something that you'll want to check out. But if you want to see the live adventures of Cultist Simulator, those will be every
Without
Wednesday.
tools of iron,
Oh
we
crap!
must rely on flesh and indefatigable purpose.
I meant to use the shovel, not the. That was my bad. Oh well. The real thing that I didn't want out of that was the stress.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Yeah, actually, Sin, I will admit there are many things that I like about you, but your tremendous
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles, paid for in blood.
your tremendous fandom of Lottie is very charming. By the way, the Cove battle music is probably my favorite track out of this. It's definitely one of my favorite features of yours, because I think it's like Alexis is an incredibly talented writer and a very good designer. So it's very easy to see how he gets credit. So, you know, it's completely understandable why he's able to get credit for what he does. But the thing is that production is a very real factor in game design, and it's hard. Like, when you have somebody that talented, it's sometimes very easy to sort of see someone like Lottie as sort of just their shadow, where she's actually a great talent in her own right. So it's been very nice to sort of see people like Sin kind of make the Lottie Bevan fan club. That's one thing. You know, it's wonderful to see them respected as a couple in Weather Factory rather than one on their own. And it sounds great. You're enjoying my digressions going down a path with chat. It seems like I have an uncommonly thoughtful crowd behind you. I actually have an uncommonly large crowd behind me right now, so I was originally going to say, oh no, they're a bunch of morons. I just try and do my best with it. But no, they are. I definitely have the luck. I think partly it's a selection bias, right? Because I bore people who are not thoughtful. Or I just bore people who are looking for something a little bit more active in entertainment. But yes, I am very lucky in having a respectful and a chat who's willing to engage with me and go down some of the paths. So very special thank you to you. And it's, you know, the one thing I will say, like, I get a chance to see, it used to be that on YouTube I would only ever see nasty comments from people, and people like Mojo are showing up more often now, and it's completely transformed YouTube. It's been a chance for me to sort of engage with some people who are definitely much kinder than I deserve, probably. But it's been a really nice sort of side effect of doing Cultist Simulator stuff, which is basically that it attracts a certain type of viewer. I mean, I still get annoyed with backseating sometimes, but it's definitely been a nice opportunity to have a different type of person coming in, and somebody who really seems to appreciate the different type of game like Cultist Simulator. And again, it was a game that I sort of discovered almost by accident, and it's been really rewarding to share it with people. So
the slow death, unforeseen.
So what I did here, I just wanted to get a little bit of tempo. I'm gonna take a slight risk in the sense that this is my last action, and if the grouper is able to get a shot off before anybody else, I may pay for this. But Solemnity will give me both a heal as well as stress reduction. So this is a particularly useful one for this group right now. So let's see if it pays off. All right, Sin, please dispatch this thug. Tall man alive, please dispatch. Ooh, hang on. This might get bad. Oh no, this will totally take care of it.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
Oh god, this coffee's a little cold, but it's also a little watery, so it actually tastes not bad. I know Johnny hates cold coffee though. Okay, stress generators, so we'll do what we can to take care of them first. Ah! So, fun fact, Stuart Chatwood, who did the music for this, was originally in a rock band called, I think it's the Tea Party. I don't remember that as well, though. A little bit before my time, but it was really cool to sort of find out. Like, so, I mean, there's so many Canadians who worked on this game. It's really cool to sort of see. Like, normally, you always kind of wonder what happens to some of these people. You know, like, not everybody is a rock star all their life. And it's just really cool when they suddenly show up in games that you like. Alright, let's see if we can... have anything. The only stun that I have is my healer. This is gonna get complicated. Oh, I expect it'll be great, Captain Zerge. I mean, obviously we can't know until it comes out, but I just think
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
stun.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
We'll see if this pays off. Ah!
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Tall man alive, please don't get eaten by the oyster. You got one job! Alright. Yeah, so like the thing is that I did while I didn't support the Kickstarter, I did get this game in early access. I know people didn't like the Corpse update. I actually think corpses were the right choice for this game, but again, I don't mean to suggest that my opinions booty. I don't mean to suggest that my opinions need to become some sort of absolute. I'm not coming down from Sinai with the Ten Commandments or anything like that. But the thing is that I think the early access period of this showed how responsive they are to the community, how thoughtful they are as far as designers are concerned, and it's very exciting to think about. Now that the Darkest Dungeon is sort of a proven thing, it's had its success. They have a degree of financial comfort that they likely didn't have when they were originally making the game, although it certainly was successful in the earlier access period as well. I'm quite interested to see what they say. It's like, okay, we did the first round, it worked well. Now, what's the thing that we would make with all of the lessons that we learned from the first one? And I think, Too Dark, Too Dungeon will be very exciting. Okay, only one stress generator. I think I can work with that. I'm gonna get a little risky on this one and see. The thing is, I don't think I'm gonna be able to one-shot this guy anyway, so we'll split it up and then we'll let the poison hurt people. Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, the whole reason I played this 2 weeks ago is because the narrator sent
the stage for heroism.
Shared a really funny little video. So, this is looking a little precarious, to be completely honest. Let's get a judgment down, because that'll heal up my Vestal anyway. It's a great feeling, isn't it, Captain Sergey? Like, that's what I feel like with Cultist Simulator. Like, when I did the GOG interview, my original intention was, it's like, hey, there's this little indie that I'm going to help out, in whatever small way that I can. And the interview happened like 2 weeks after the game came out, and like it was huge. So I was like, oh, okay, so I'm no longer like doing someone a favor. I'm now interviewing sort of the toast of the town. But I mean, I really am meaning to put that on YouTube, by the way. But like, again, just Weather Factory are remarkably nice people. I could not have possibly asked for a better introduction to interviewing people, which I'd really not done for years. And it was, it was a very fun time. So the reason why that's not on YouTube yet is I had a lot of technical problems with it, including the audio being very, very quiet. I should have done the. Oh, that went through the shield. But yeah, it was just once I get the audio done, like you'll get a chance to see it. Like I was very lucky in terms of just being, despite the fact that there were problems, like I was able to, or I was given an environment in which I could sort of make up for the problems. Okay, I gotta think about how I'm gonna manage my health for the next little bit, because I don't really have stuns. I think I do need to do the damage to... Ooh! I think I'm just gonna raise the floor. Of course, because we're in the cove, that's not... It's yar! We read Lovecraft stories before Wednesdays and Fridays to psych yourself up for the streams. You know, so embarrassing revelation time. I have not read a Lovecraft story other than the Call of Cthulhu, like the actual Call of
Give them no
Cthulhu.
quarter.
This time I'm gonna punt and do a heal. We're net +1. I am gonna do Divine Comfort again.
A brilliant confluence of skill and purpose.
So part of this is just trying to get a little, as much healing in as I can. Hey Chalk, what's a pirate's favorite letter? Arr!
This expedition at least promises success. A handsome reward for a task well performed.
Or the sea. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, no, I do actually have The Mountains of Madness as a book. I need to pick it up again. The one he received at port from his family, telling him they're healthy and safe. That's so sweet.
A fortune waiting to be spent. If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
An expedition like the ones in Cultist Simulator. Did I remember to bring a shovel? I don't think I did. Oh no, I have 2 because I used my hands on the last one. Weapon Tinker. I think Grave Robber's best at traps. I can check, but it's a little... This is actually the one complaint I have, is that I find it a little cumbersome to go between characters.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Oh, you're a lot of fun, Sim. Oh, no, 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 no. What are you doing? This shouldn't be too difficult to deal with, I don't think. This is famous last words, but I think I'm going to neglect the, I think I'm going to neglect the healing for the... Yeah. I want to try and do some damage.
The wounds of war can be healed, but never hidden. Death waits for the slightest lapse in concentration.
Sin, I fully expect that letter saying you're alive and well. Maybe not quite ready for you to go to the back road. Jeez. Okay, 4 damage around. Good. We can focus this guy down, but let's make sure my tank is sorted. That's not the first time you've been whipped like that, is it? Actually, I suppose it's the other way around. Sin would be the one wielding the weapon.
Momentary abatement.
Okay, so this guy's gonna... This one's gonna die to the Blight. I'm gonna use the opportunity to heal up as much as I can.
Monster's size has no intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
This may be a silly question given the company you're in, but speaking of Alexis Kennedy and Lovecraft stories, do people here have much experience with Sunless Sea? Funny thing about that, Mojo Storm, so I have played Sunless Sea. I was one of those people who didn't like it very much when I first played it. Kind of the well-known problem, for some people at least, with the game is that it is very tough on you at the beginning. And so it sort of bounced off me initially because I kept redoing the early game content so much. And it was partly due to the fact that I enjoyed some other things that Fail Better had done that ultimately made me go back to the game. And once I sort of hit this, there's this threshold. Once I crossed over that, I found the game very enjoyable. I've still not completed it, but I've finally been able to appreciate just how good of a game it is.
Wealth beyond measure.
And then I did
Awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
I did help with the Kickstarter for Sunless Skies, but I feel like I should be playing
At
Sunless Sea
last,
first.
Wholesome marine
Completing.
life can flourish, if indeed there is such a thing.
But I take it you're a fan yourself, Mojo Storm? By the way, I've not ruled out doing Sunless Sea on cast, so... Actually, there's a small video of me doing Sunless Sea on cast. Let me see if I can find it, because we're getting close to the end of tonight. I know I spent some
A fresh irritant to some. A sanguine memory to me.
I know I wound up spending a lot of time talking about my EA articles, but... Top clips. So somewhere in there, there's evidence of me playing Sunless Sea. Alright, how are we for time? I really only have 10 minutes, but let's see if we can make something happen with this. So Johnny Big Time gambled and recovered 62 stress. Dismas underwent effective disease treatment and has recovered from the Black Plague. We've returned after the private game broke up. We have killed the apprentice necromancer. I don't think we're in... Well... I mean, I could have worse lineups go after the Swine King, but let's do something a little less savory. Let's try leveling up some of my folks to number 2. So Johnny will be a good position 3. Let's throw Casual Nothing in position 2. We'll get Captain Zerge at the front, and I don't know if Sean Bean's still around, but I feel like we finally need to bring them in as well. This is really more just so I can get the level 0s getting some points. So I'm gonna deal with the It's a little wasteful on money, but I might as well deal with the stress. Okay. Also, I probably don't need to do this right now, but... Hang on. Really? Oh, that's right, because I need to upgrade... Oh, damn it. I need the deeds to improve the roster as well. It really is more important that I have better gear, though. Oh, so they can. Okay, let's make sure my folks are for this next one are well equipped. Yeah, so Tall Man Alive really likes the Plague Doctor, but the Plague Doctor is a woman, so I played around a little bit with it and added the parentheses. Mojostorm says you put far too many hours in Sunless Sea. The problems with the early game are real, though, for sure. You ended up enjoying the writing so much that you went back, and you've been playing Fallen London ever since. Fallen London is a really, really interesting game, for sure. I've actually probably played more Fallen London than I've played Sunless Sea, to be honest. And then naturally being inquisitive about the quality of writing leads you to Alexis's name, and that's how you found out about Cultist Simulator. Yeah, so I largely came to Cultist Simulator through the same path. The big difference, though, was that my own experience was he responded to something I wrote about the Horizon Signal on Twitter. So that was my
Strong drink, a game of chance, and companionship. The rush of life.
that was sort of my my initial experience. I figure I might as well improve some of these buildings. Like, I've got so many crests, and it's going to be a while since I get the till I get the deeds. Now, I should have done this because it reduced the treatment. It reduces the treatment costs, but
however desperate, is never without worth.
All right, that's that then. Let's go back to the cove. Again, I'm not quite ready to... Well, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to go to the ruins again just because it's short. I think next time we do Darkest Dungeon, I will go back to the courtyard. Or sorry, I will go to the courtyard in the first place. Doesn't look like there's any special events. Yep. So, to the ruins it is. Test yourself in the mad realm of your fallen ancestor. Take note of how creatures have taken over, but don't delve too far. Where you come from, Cultist Simulator is called Tuesday. but I stream it on Wednesday. I'm mad at myself that I take 2 shovels now. I completely forgot to check people's skills. I hope I have the right ones. But yeah, so the Horizon Signal was my gateway drug to Cultist Simulator, but he was just finishing his Ronin year, or maybe he was just starting.
Pace out the halls of your lineage once familiar, now foreign.
But that was where I was able to... That was where I was able to... you know, I was able to find out about the early, sort of the alpha version that he had out, and it was really engaging. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot there, but you could sort of see how the thing scaled, so it was a really unique game, and I'm really happy that I found it. In fact, it's entirely possible if he didn't do that... it's entirely possible that if he didn't do that that Paradox job, I would not have given Cultist Simulator the time of day. The Horizon Signal was a DLC for Stellaris. It's a really well done one, and it's by it's written by Alexis Kennedy. So it's a free DLC. So basically, if you own Stellaris, you have access to it. But it's basically kind of this space kind of ghost story, kind of Lovecraftian sort of story. I mean, he's got the reputation for Lovecraftian stuff, so I think that one was him basically just saying, like, okay, fine, I'll do something overtly Lovecraftian now. But if you we did the end of the Horizon Signal not last Stellaris stream, but the stream before it. That should be on YouTube. So. But definitely, like, the Horizon Signal's wild. Like, if you've ever played Stellaris and you haven't had that event trigger, it's definitely one worth playing.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
I'm pretty sure the Hound's Harry should sort this out.
As
There we
the
go.
fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Johnny is top tier Doge handler. Which DLCs are worth buying? So part of this Tall Man Alive is so again, if you want the Horizon Signal, that comes for free. The best resource that I can recommend for you for the DLC is Stellaris Wiki, which is right here. On the right-hand side of the screen, it will list the DLC in order from oldest to newest. So Leviathans was the first DLC, a story pack, and Megacorp is the most recent one. The consensus, and I'm inclined to agree, is that Utopia is sort of the must-have DLC. I would say the ones that add the most to the game, the ones that are the proper expansions, are Utopia, Apocalypse, and Megacorp. Leviathans and Distant Stars, and Leviathans and Distant Stars are very overtly story packs. Synthetic Dawn counts as one as well, but because you get to play machine empires, it sort of feels like there's maybe a little bit more there. But basically, I would say the must-have is probably Utopia. And that's a personal feeling as well as sort of being a community consensus. And from there, what I recommend is that you take a look. Each one of these so just as with all Paradox games, each paid DLC comes with an associated patch, and the patch releases free content. So I think the best way to play games like Stellaris and really any of the Paradox games is that you slowly file in the DLC. And the best way to do it is do something that you find the most interesting. So for instance, when you're just starting in Stellaris, all of the story events are new, and so the variety doesn't mean quite as much. And once you start noticing the story events are starting to get a little repetitive, you can add, Leviathans or Distant Stars or what have you. And maybe, like, if deep down you really want to play Skynet, then getting Synthetic Dawn early makes a lot of sense. But if, on the other hand, you're just happy to be playing a species, then it's not as important to have Synthetic Dawn right away, because, again, all of the species are going to be new. You're just at the start of the game. So it's really, in my view, once you're outside of Utopia, it's really kind of up to you to decide what you think, what features you think are the most important, and I think the wiki is probably the best at delineating what's paid and what's not. But I will also say I think Stellaris, in my view, has probably had the best DLC. I think as far as like what you pay and the value that you get, in my opinion, Stellaris has been the best value for money for the DLC. Just keep in mind, if it's a cheaper DLC, it probably doesn't have as much content, so... yeah, well, and Mojorstorm's got a perfect example here, right? If you really like playing AI races, again, get Synthetic Dawn as early as you can, because, like, why would you not play the thing that you want to do? If you want to be Megacorps, buy the Megacorps DLC. It's a really good DLC, by the way. But obviously, if playing a Hive Mind is more important to you, you want to get access to that as early as you can. But yeah, the base game has the Horizon Signal inside of it, so like you do not need to buy Leviathans with it, although the patch was named after Kennedy. Yeah, well, the other thing to keep in mind too, Tall Man Alive, is that Paradox also sometimes has its own sales. So you may wind up having a good deal on that sooner than the Steam sale. Usually the Paradox store is really good for it, and the Humble store also has some Paradox sales, but they just recently, I know the, I'm pretty, or sorry, the Paradox store, the Humble store I think recently just had a Paradox
may we
sale.
find victory.
That's great. I actually rather like Razer's service for that. They're not that good at updating the wish list, but I have found that the Razer website, like razordeals.com or something like that, does a fairly decent job of informing me
Finding
when
the stuff
any
is only the
storefront
first
has a
test.
game on sale.
Now it must be carried home.
But on the other hand, like if Steam's more convenient, like all that you're really losing is just a chance to buy it a little bit sooner. Like it's not the end of the world. Well, I have enough shovels, so
Even the cold.
sorry, this has
stone
not been about
seems
the
bent
game at
on
all, but I
preventing
haven't had
passage.
that many battles, so. An old journal entry.
A handsome reward for a task well performed.
Journal of Darius Highwayman, Day 1. Rare are travelers on the road this autumn, and rather than starve, I pressed my last coin into the hand of one who dealt in rumors and shadows. Ravens carried cryptic notes that there was a person or persons who was pledging coin for services best left unmentioned in a hamlet I had never heard of. I am packing to leave immediately. This is a pretty forgiving dungeon. Ah, here we go. Hound's really not useful in this. It's probably better to try focusing one down rather than anything else. Read my blog! Alright, so this should be where that Harry
Their
helps.
formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
So that ordering works reasonably well because the sharpshooter can potentially weaken this guy enough for a grape shot to work out. It didn't in this case, but
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
so it's very tempting to use the battle heal in this case. I think I'll do it.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Shame. Alright. The lantern will be a bit dark, but I think we should be able to manage. Ugh. I've been happier with other opponents, but let's see what we can do. It's only 1 damage, so yeah, we'll sell a second station. Ugh! I actually don't know why I did that. That wasn't the right call. If I'm gonna do, so like, if I'm against human targets, it makes a little more sense to distribute the bleeding, but all that I really succeeded in doing was doing like 1 or 2 damage to some already pretty meaty opponents. That's fine, I'll focus down the Arbalist and we'll do what we can with what's left over. Okay, you're taking still 1 damage around, so we'll Zealous Accusation. Big thing is I need to find a way to heal the Highwayman, but my only stunner is the Crusader. So what we'll do here... no, that's a bit of a waste. Okay, rush it. I'll do a quick patch up. So I'd love to do battle heal, but obviously the damage that this thing can do compared to... So like this thing can do 3 to 6 damage. This can heal 2 to 3. So obviously I'm fighting a losing battle in terms of healing people faster than this guy can damage them. That's true in general, but especially true in
Remind
this case.
yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Oh, Captain Zerga, you're having absolutely no luck today. Fortunately, we won't have too many battles ahead of us. I'm pretty sure we can finish this dungeon without fighting another battle, but obviously that's the boring way of doing it, so we won't. Out of curiosity, Captain Zerge, did you pick this combo of skills, or did it randomly choose those for me? Johnny, check out the Iron Maiden. I got Johnny to check out the Iron Maiden because I bet he likes the band. Oh, cool. That's a really smart way of doing those kind of Kickstarter rewards. The one thing that the one Kickstarter reward that doesn't mean anything to me now is the get a credit in the game, because they're just incorporated in a way that like you have no hope whatsoever of seeing. Like occasionally, like if Mike Laidlaw, you know, backs something, I'll see that, or if like, you know, if they do something weird and wonderful with the credits, but like here's the list of Kickstarter backers things, like inevitably we just skip over it. Like it's so long that it doesn't have meaning, so which is a bit of a shame because obviously you want that to have some value. You got to choose the name, color skills, camp skills, and traits. I was wondering about that because I noticed, like, I don't normally lock things in, but all of these were set up as was Enlightened, so that's really neat. So did you pick it specifically to, like, did you choose it because you thought this was a good batch of skills to have, or did you have a particular character in mind? Let's go for the single point damage. Oh, that paid off. Johnny, I like your hound mastering. Worth a try. Grape shot might work here. Nice. I mean, obliterated. Went for a paladin type character. Nice. I think the bleed will do him in. So let's get some healing done. I'm gonna just put a shot on one of the corpses, hoping that... Okay. I was kind of hoping that Zerge might be able to heal the Highwayman, but... Okay, steal from the fountain, why not? And we know that there's not a room battle. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't a battle in the hallway, but I think we're in good enough shape to be able to handle a hallway battle. And we might get some loot. Or we might not. They should probably gone for the plus accuracy instead of Warrior of Light. I don't know. I think it's like, to me, it's like when I play Stellaris, right? I really enjoy building something. I enjoy building like a story around it, and sometimes that means, like, obviously, like most interesting stories turn out, if you go for all of the cliches, then you really don't have anything meaningful to work with, or like it's really not any different from, you know, your most basic expectations, and so maybe it's not as interesting. Whereas if you go for like that one little bit off the beaten path, even if it's otherwise conventional in every other way, I just tend to find that a little bit more interesting.
The great ruins
That might just be a me
belong to
thing, though.
us, and we will find whatever secrets they hold.
Anyways, guys, I know I probably was a little more chatty than I should have been on this one here. I really like playing Darkest Dungeon. You seem to like seeing me play it. Johnny Big Time has now made 2 levels without going berserk, so Captain Zerga has become a nervous bleeder, and Sharp is a ruins phobe. We'll live with that. But yeah,
A fresh irritant to some. A sanguine memory to me.
I'm having a really good time with Darkest Dungeon. I can't maybe make a promise that it will be a regular occurrence, but I'll definitely do a lot more about it. One thing you did a tiny bit different is meditation exclusive instead of prayer exclusive for stress relief. Oh, that's right. But Reynold has the same. Oh wait, no, he doesn't. That's just the specific one that I have because he developed it. But yeah, I'll definitely do more of this. I do at some point want to get back to XCOM 2 because we took down one of the Chosen, and then we moved on to other things. And then I know that there's some wish to see Mass Effect 3, but I don't know. I really like playing Darkest Dungeon, and it seems that you enjoy. Watching me play it. Although probably more playing it than talking over it. I don't know. I will admit, today was a very wearying day. I think the most direct manager I report to at work has become, at least in the current form, maybe a little bit more sympathetic to the situation that I'm finding myself in. But we had the workplace is going through something called a modernization effort, which basically means that instead of ignoring all of our suggestions for doing things better, now we're supposed to come up with the ideas. And one of the points that I'd sort of made earlier about this was that it's very difficult to become enthusiastic about recommending ideas when the experience of it day in and day out is that you'll present ideas only to have them sort of shot down. And so, to their credit, at the beginning of this thing, because this is a department-wide effort that they're making, they did say it's like, you know, this is about generating ideas. You know, don't shoot them down. Don't make veiled efforts to shoot them down. We want to generate things. But there's a coworker who didn't. They did not decide to. It wasn't just that they decided to ignore it. They specifically threw shade on a very well-received presentation that I had made yesterday. Didn't bother to say anything during the presentation. They just decided to do it during the presentations, and it's just like, after spending a day recommending stuff that I had already recommended. I actually quantified it before. I've written 5 single-spaced pages of recommendations to the department about how things can be done better. So after kind of having to relitigate that during the day, to just have this jackass, decide, oh, you know what, I've got an axe to grind, so I'm going to bring it up in a meeting with everyone right now. That was definitely something that I wanted to go for a walk before streaming over. So I had a great time with Darkest Dungeon, but definitely I'm starting to feel a little drained by the end of today, as much as I enjoyed this. So sorry sorry to unburden myself with that little bit of work, but if it seems like I'm finishing a little earlier than I normally do. Well, it's late for me in general, but obviously I'm wrapping up a little bit closer to to my on time for a late start. It's just because I think I need to decompress a little bit. All right. Let me just catch up. So, Cultist Simulator and Darkest Dungeon, best combo. Captain Zerge starts with God-fearing, mine has Enlightened. Oh yes, that's right. And Casual Nothing says this is a good channel. The dungeons are dark and the cults are simulated. And stimulated when I have coffee. Quick recap of what happened. Sin has experiencing double vision after a long night of drinking, but did recover 50 stress. Valken has engaged in flagellation and has recovered 73 stress. Jamie prayed and recovered 62 stress, and Tall Woman Alive meditated and recovered 50 stress. So, as much as I would love to spend some more time doing this, I will wish you all a very good night. Thank you very much for putting up with my more chatty more chatty side. There are a lot of people I would like to share with you. It's been excellent to watch as always. Certainly take your time for all kinds of hell. Thank you, Casual Nothing. Just a quick word for you guys. So the oncoming week, Monday should be Stellaris as usual. I'm having a great time with Stellaris, by the way, which is sort of to be expected, but it is always rewarding to play those games. I expect to be back with Cultist Simulator on Wednesday again. I don't have the meetup like the third Wednesday of the month. It is the last Wednesday of the month, so that should be a normal Cultist Simulator round. And then Friday is sort of my free day. But I will say Tuesday I expect to have a new Elder Scrolls episode. And I have booked time off of work for the first time in, I think, a year and a half. Not counting the special Steam streams and that I do. But, like, I think I'll have, like, my first proper, I'm taking time off work and I'm not sick and I don't have any other obligations. And I'm going to do that on Monday and Friday. So no promises, but there might be a vodcast on Thursday as well. For those of you who do enjoy the vodcasts, there will almost certainly be Elder Scrolls on Tuesday. But I am going to do my best to do another entry for the Thursday. Failing that, I might try and do maybe like another cast on Monday, or I might just try and do something special. I might just do something special for me, which I later reveal on the stream, like just as a special project or something like that. But I am trying to make sure that I have a little bit more spare time next week because, I don't know, like for those of you who've been with us for a while, you know that work has really been like taking its toll. My stress is getting close to that 200 level. And I feel like we're getting at the end of the fiscal year, which means there's going to be like an employee review. I have no idea how that's going to go because I definitely know as far as the content of my work is concerned, I feel like it has been one of the most productive that I've had. But it's also felt like I've just put so much effort in and it's maybe not quite been as recognized. So we'll see. I mean, you'll probably hear about it when it happens, but I don't know. Let's hope for the best. I am lucky enough to have options, and I actually turned down another job on sort of the assumption that things would get better at work. They really haven't, but I know that I still have some more contacts that I can rely on to get a different job. And I'm actually considering a couple of jobs in gaming, so maybe we'll do that instead. Mojo Storm says that this has been fun. You'll do your best to catch another stream for sure. I'm really happy to hear that. Just a quick idea of the schedule. Normally, Eastern time, it's any start time between 7 to 8, although I have been a little bit later recently. If you're interested in Cultist Simulator, those are regularly on Wednesdays, but I will warn you that we are very deep into the follow-up playthrough of the Roland story. So if you don't want to get any spoilers for that, you might want to skip Wednesday, although far be it from me to discourage you from coming to the channel. because you've been an absolute pleasure to have in the stream, Mojo. So we'll one way or the other, we'll get a chance to see you again. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the regular things. If you don't mind a recorded me doing a voice like this, you can also stop by on Tuesday and check out the VOD. I am inclined to agree, the Eyes of Sin, but the good news is that, like I said, unlike other, so I'm saying this to, knowing full well that there's somebody in the channel who is having a difficult time finding a more traditional job. So the fact that I sort of know that I can talk to people and have an alternative that is... So the big thing is that, like, my work with price indexes, there are people who know and want that set of skills that I have. And I definitely know that there are people who I think very highly of who do not have that kind of a backup in terms of their work options. So, like, even though work is not treating me very well, I absolutely need to acknowledge that I am very lucky in the sense that I have alternatives available to me. So, it's unfortunate, and I wish it wasn't in that particular way, especially because I sort of feel like it would be better if I could keep things more positive on the stream. But I also know that I'm in this nice position where my skills are in demand enough that I am afforded some opportunities that others don't necessarily get the chance for. But on that note, thank you everybody. It's always a pleasure to have you inside here, even if you're a lurker. It's actually really nice to see when I have a slightly higher number of people watching than usual. I hope it wasn't too off-putting, especially when I start talking about non-Darkest Dungeon related facts. But I would love to share Kilgore Trout with you. He is currently playing Lands of Lore, The Throne of Chaos, a Westwood game. I have a feeling that Kilgore Trout was actually responsible for a really big host when I was playing Elder Scrolls Daggerfall in VOD, so I'm feeling particularly beholden to him. Obviously, anybody who has a name after, in a reference to Kurt Vonnegut is a good man anyway. But please do check out Kilgore Trout. He really is a very talented broadcaster, likes playing a lot of classic games, and does a very good job of demonstrating his enthusiasm for those games, and particularly the enthusiasm he felt when they first came out. So the usual raid message: we're tired of system talk, heard this place was better. I do encourage you to give him a chance. Every streamer really just wants an opportunity to be able to entertain you. If it isn't your kind of thing, obviously no hard feeling. So I've only read Slaughterhouse 5. I believe Kilgore Trout does appear in more than one Kurt Vonnegut book, though. So I don't know if he's in Sirens of Titan. But that reminds me now that I need to read more Vonnegut. But he definitely appeared in Slaughterhouse 5, and I recommend it, by the way, if you haven't read it. But anyways, guys, please do hang out. Feel free to let him know that I sent you. It is really the only way that he tolerates me. But if it's not your thing, obviously no obligation to stay. But like I said, every streamer is really just looking for an opportunity to entertain you. Sometimes Twitch is just a big matching problem. And if I can get you in touch with somebody who becomes your next favorite streamer, that makes me very happy. And if at worst I just waste a couple of your minutes, I apologize for that. But at least you know better for the next time that I host. So have a good night, and we will see you Monday.